Alrighty, people. It is Monday. Monster Truck Rally. We are here ready to do a 2025 rookie mock draft.
Wow, rookies.
And Senior Bowl measurements were done today. And it's causing a lot of disagreements over on my Twitter. All right. Put out a tweet about, a certain player, and people just aren't agreeing, and we'll walk you through some of the measurements, but we'll see you guys in the building. What's up, Daniel Macy? He says 87 days until the NFL draft. DT says Zach dropped a banger today. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate Jack for saying the same. What's up, Elijah? He says boycott the Super Bowl. I saw a really funny tweet, actually, today, where someone said, for everyone who's complaining about the Chiefs and you think the refs are favoring them or whatever, why don't you start betting on them? I thought that was hilarious because, you know what? That's a fair point. If you really think the NFL is rigged and you really think they want the Chiefs to go on three-peat or they want them to create history each and every game,
you can't make money off them.
Bet on it then.
They can't make money because they're always the favorites. So, you can probably.
They weren't the favorites in the game versus Buffalo. Buffalo were favorites. I don't know the numbers. There are millions of people betting on that game. He's just basically trying to say, bet on it if that's what you believe, which I thought was hilarious. Sure. What's up, Michael? Welcome in. Bridleton in the building. Connor, Sebastian, Landon says, fly, Eagles, fly. Must be Ja. Bleck is in the building. Charlie Scribbles. We appreciate y'all for being here. No Sebastian on all week. I was seeing that on DraftKings. What's up, General? I appreciate you for being here. All right, guys, we appreciate y'all for being here. We are going to get into a 2025 rookie mock draft.
Yeah, we are. And
I know there are people who want to get into the mock draft. So why don't we go ahead and send out that link? How can they join us?
Yeah, guys, join our Discord. That link is in the description, and I'll put that link in the chat here as well. Join our Discord. Go to the Flock Fantasy Land tab with the orange footballs. Then go to announcements. That's how you can join each and every mock draft. Okay. It is first come, first serve.
Yeah. And if you can't find us, we're just one spot down now. We got moved below domain. They're taking over the world. So we're one spot below them now. If you can't find us, no, someone said, where is it? I can't see the Discord channel. It's just one spot below. So now you should be able to find us there. But yeah, we have sent that out. So This will get filled up pretty quickly. Let's have a look at the measurements real quick. If you want to have a look at this, I can put the link in the chat myself if it intrigues you at all. But so a couple things that stood out. Dylan Gabriel. A lot of people loved him as a sleeper. He's 5'10", 202 pounds. Kind of Bryce Young size, I'd say, if you think about it that way. A lot of people really like him. Ollie Gordon, I found this interesting, 233 pounds. I'm not going to lie, I saw some people celebrating this. I would rather have seen him come at 215. I already think he's got some issues with contact. For him to be 233 pounds and still to struggle through contact like he does, in my opinion, I was a little bit shocked by it. RJ Harvey coming in at 207, I think was great to see for a lot of people. Brashard Smith at 195. Shouldn't concern you with the modern day NFL. The one that caused a ton of controversy was Tez Johnson. All right, Tez Johnson comes in at 5'9" and then 156 pounds. And I think, they tweeted out, the Senior Bowl did, they tweeted out about all these prospects, and this was probably easily the most responded to measurement. Again, 5'9", 156 pounds, and basically what I've been seeing all over the internet is that he's completely off people's boards now. They're not going to draft him. They're not going to think about him. And in my opinion, I think it's silly, but that's just my opinion. And the common trend right now is people are saying you shouldn't draft Tez Johnson because Tank Dell was small and he got injured. Which, first off, I think is just ridiculous. I think that's the silliest argument ever, because what happened, Badaki, after Tank Dell went down with his first season-ending injury? What was the narrative? Do you remember what happened? He was in line blocking against 250, 300-pound linemen. and he goes down and he gets injured for the season. What was everyone saying?
He shouldn't be there.
He shouldn't be there. Was anyone saying he's too small? He can't play NFL in the wide receiver position. He's just too small. No, we all said that's the dumbest thing we've seen from any offensive coordinator this entire year, to put Tank Dell in line to block with linemen. It was like the dumbest thing we could possibly see. Okay, and now there's this narrative, well, you can't draft Tez Johnson because Tank Dell got injured, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. It's football. Sure. It's a physical game. People get injured all the freaking time. I mean, just this year, Stephon Diggs, 191 pounds, season-ending injury. Chris Godwin, 209, 204 for Rashee Rice, 200 pounds for Ayuk, 200 pounds for Kirk, 208 pounds for Christian Watson. All season-ending injuries. By the way, Chris Godwin, his second season-ending injury in his career. I mean, it's just the narrative is because it's a small player, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. That is football. That is the nature of football. I mean, go back to Chris Godwin's injury this year. What happened to Chris Godwin? He got landed on awkwardly, and he broke his ankle. Do you remember that, Badaki?
Yeah, he was too big, I think. Because he was too big.
Right.
All these guys are just extremely large.
Is anyone talking about how Chris Godwin his legs aren't big enough, or he's not been in the gym enough? No, we're not talking about that, because that's ridiculous, because it's football. Now, if that happened to Tank Dell, what would the narrative have been? He's too small, man. He's too small. I just think it's silly. I think it's absolutely silly. The reason you should move Tez Johnson down your board is if he doesn't get NFL draft capital that's worth chasing after. Not because of him being 156 pounds, 160 pounds. So, again, I think it's ridiculous. People want to point out that, he definitely got injured because he's small. No, he got injured because of incompetence. Incompetence is why he got injured. Okay? And then the second one, I don't know. You really have some science behind if a different receiver was there, they wouldn't have got injured the way he did with that second. I just think it's ridiculous. Tez Johnson can play football. He's a baller. He's an absolute baller. And if he gets the right draft capital, I will be in on Tez Johnson. But that was probably the most controversial name. I don't think there's really another name worth mentioning. Harold Fannin came in at 238. So that's actually pretty good because he was at 230 originally. When PFF and everyone who had him graded out, he was at 230. So he actually put on 8 pounds, or that's just what he was all along. That's actually really good to see for Harold Fannin, who I think could actually be an early second round pick.
Yeah.
But anyway, interesting stuff. This will all be updated in our version 2 of our 2025 rookie report, which will be updated after the Senior Bowl.
That's right.
But all right, we are doing a 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium mock draft, okay? And we are using the landing spots from Sammy Stacks, who has created another mock draft for us, a 7-rounder here.
Go ahead, Sammy.
The Titans, remember they said we're not gonna pass on an elite prospect, which a lot of us think
generational talent.
Maybe that doesn't mean quarterback. They go Travis Hunter here, then Abdul Carter goes to the Browns, Cam Ward goes to your Giants. Then we see Shador Sanders to the Raiders, Tet McMillan to the Jets. Tyler Warren jumps up into the top 10. He goes to the Saints. Then we come back and we find Luther Burden to the Bucks. Ashton Genty falls to the Broncos at pick 20. I don't think he'll fall that far, but it's a possibility. In this world we're living in, Jalen Milroe is the 21st pick to the Steelers. Love Sammy, obviously, but I'm not sure I really understand this one because they already have Justin Fields, right? I mean, I know he's...
Sammy, you stupid.
That's not what I'm saying. I know he doesn't have a contract anymore, but why not sign Justin Fields on a team-friendly contract? It might be even cheaper than this contract that Jalen Milroe will be on as a first-round pick. I don't know, actually, the number. But Colson Loveland goes to the Chargers in the first round. Amarion Hampton goes to the Vikings. Emeka Egbuka to the Ravens, which I hate, but it's a possibility. And then down into round 2, where we see Travion Henderson to your Giants.
Come on, baby.
We see Caleb Johnson to the Bears. Matthew Golden to the Cowboys. Harold Fannin to the Colts. We see Jalen Royals to the Broncos. I actually really, really like that landing spot a lot for him. Quinshon Judkins, second-round pick to the Packers, which would make things very confusing. And, in fact, I'm really glad that Sammy did this because, this type of frustrating, stupid pick is what's realistic in the NFL. Like, this could actually
100%.
happen. It's so annoying,
No
but
question.
it could happen. And we know, by the way, that, you know, they love running 2 running backs there. So it's a possibility. Then we see Alec A. Manor to the Bills. I got to be honest. I watched Alec A. Manor last week, and I'm not 100% sure I understand the hype, but I might be on an island there. Jack Besh goes to the Lions. Jaden Higgins goes to the Commanders. Isaiah Bond to the Eagles. Then in the 3rd round, Trey Harris is a Chief. Cam Scatterboot is a Brown. Dylan Sampson goes to the Raiders. Xavier Restrepo to the Patriots. Tez Johnson to the Panthers. DJ Giddens to the Patriots. I like that a lot. Jackson Dart to the Seahawks. Savion Williams to the Steelers. He's also a very fun watch. Might be the best athlete in the entire class. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. Jalen Knoll to the Texans. Love that landing spot there for him. Woody Marks to the Chiefs in round 3. Yes, please. Gunnar Helm to the Dolphins. Nick Nash to the Rams. Everyone, for the last month. Zach, what do you think about Nick Nash? What do you think about Nick Nash? He's a sleeper. You have to talk about him. You got to talk about Nick Nash. And I got to say, guys, not impressed. Just not impressed at all. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're a Nick Nash guy. I'm sorry if that's your favorite sleeper. I just don't see it, dude. I just don't see it with Nick Nash. I mean, I think the stats obviously are impressive, right? I mean, if you're looking at the stats for Nick Nash, you're like, holy hell, he put up so many yards, so many receptions. I'm trying to actually find my report for Nick Nash, and I don't understand why.
He just came out of San Diego State. Wasn't there a tight end that just came out of
San Jose State, actually?
Was it San Jose? Who was that? Tucker Kraft?
Tucker Kraft. No, Tucker Kraft came from a D2 school, North Dakota State or South Dakota State, one of those.
Anyways.
But one thing I'll say about him, he's a 6-year senior. He's got training wheels as a route runner. He's not very dynamic after the catch. And he has... Okay, so let's read his numbers for a second. He had 104 receptions on 171 targets. He had almost 1,400 receiving yards and 16 touchdowns. So immediately you're like, oh, okay, I mean, this guy's very good. I'm sorry, but let's think about this for a second. Guys, 171 targets Nick Nash had. 171 targets, okay?
Yep,
I mean, he had 30 more targets than any other wide receiver in college football this year. Yep. Second had 143. He had 171. Around 30, okay? So, for example, if Travis Hunter had 171 targets and he kept the same pace he had, Travis Hunter would have had 135 receptions, almost 1,800 yards and 21 touchdowns. Nick Nash has the 2nd highest target total in a single season in the last 8 years. So I'm sorry. The production is fine, but it's not that impressive. It's not. All right? Guys, 171 targets. The 2nd highest total in a season in the last 8 years, almost in the last decade. I'm sorry. I know the stats are nice, but they're not that impressive. But I think he's more Devon Vele, Josh Reynolds than the next Puka Nacua, which people want to label him. I just don't understand it. Like, I'll say, he's got solid hands. He's got good speed for his size. He wins with leverage, but he has literally no nuance to his route running. He's playing out of the slot 94% of the time. He has a ton of free releases. I mean, it's just not that impressive. I'm sorry. I'm just not blown away by it.
You got to watch the film.
But anyway, I digress. Ty Felton goes to the Browns. Torrey Horton to the Raiders. Devin Neal to the Patriots. Then we got maybe some of these people have gone back to school. I don't know. But Caden Prather to the Bengals. Pat Bryant to the Titans. Mason Taylor to the Broncos. RJ Harvey to the Steelers. I like that a lot. Khalil Mullins to the Chargers, which makes sense. Quinn Ewers to the Rams. Damian Martinez to the Texans. Antoine Wells to the Saints. Kobe Hudson to the Giants. And then in round 5, names like Ricky White come off the board. Jarquez Hunter, my guy. Brashard Smith, my guys, coming off the board right there. I love that. Ardone Gadsden comes off the board. Arroyo comes off the board. Dylan Gabriel could be a nice backup in the NFL. Kyle Monangai. Ja'Cory Brooks, who I really like. Jordan James, who I really like. If you want to look at rounds 6 and 7, you can do that. I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys to look at yourself. But let's go ahead and start this thing. Here we go. 12-team Superflex, PPR, Titan Premium, based off the mock draft that we just saw. And rookies are imported. If you don't see a rookie and you want to draft them, then just draft a kicker. Let me know in the chat on Sleeper, and I will try and add them in for you because we still have the graphics on our end that we can use.
Talk it up.
Anyway, catching up with the chat. It's great to see you guys with us, by the way. What's up, Smurf? Dylan's in the building. Chargers fan is here. Timothy WG says, yo, what's up, man? What's up, Albert? Welcome in.
Y'all?
Appreciate you, Dylan.
Well,
What's up, Akil? Okay, nice. They did add pictures.
I didn't even know they had pictures. I thought it was just
nice.
When I checked earlier last week, it was just players, like the players' names.
Yeah. Well, this is cool to see.
See if they got everyone.
And if they don't have a name, we can look at adding that name. But Ashton Genty does come off the board first. Remember, guys, Ashton Genty in this world went to the Broncos, pick 20, which I would be shocked if he fall that far. But at the same time, the whole point of these mock drafts is to play out different worlds, to play out different realities, and to see how it might impact the way we value players or the class as a whole. As Amarion Hampton is the second overall pick here.
Yeah, he went to the Minnesota Vikings in 21st pick in the in the first round.
24th pick, yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, that is very, very nice, honestly. I like that pick a lot. I think that makes a ton of sense. First round running backs have an 86% hit rate in the last decade, so it's a safe bet to make. That's for damn sure. Yeah, very, 100%. Very safe bet to make. This is Superflex, Daniel.
Let's see where Wes goes here. He goes Luther Burden.
All right.
Also has a very interesting landing spot. He goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not ideal for the Jalen McMillan owners there, the Jalen McMillan lovers. I think that can definitely hurt and hinder this thing. That most likely means they move on from Chris Godwin with this pick as well. Luther Burden goes into the slot. Then I'm assuming McMillan goes on the outside, which he can play. He can play both.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why people keep putting wide receiver to the Bucs because they have a lot of needs. And I don't think wide receiver is exactly what they should address in the first round or even the second round. I could see them going like third, fourth round, but obviously I'm biased towards Jalen McMillan. And also we have to keep in mind that this team typically doesn't let their players walk. Mike Evans kept talking about where he might go. They might trade him. They re-signed him. So I mean, you can say the same about a bunch of defensive players as well. Maybe they don't bring Chris Godwin back. Maybe they do. I don't know. But Cam Ward comes off the board next. In this mock, Cam Ward was a Giant with a third overall pick. After that, we saw Caleb Johnson go, and Caleb Johnson went to the Bears, early fourth round. Thinking about the way...
Early second round, yeah.
Early second round, my bad. The way that Ben Johnson intends to use his running backs, I mean, that could be hot. That could be fire hot.
Yeah. I'm contemplating between two players here. Let's go Homer.
Okay.
I'll go Travion.
Why is that a Homer pick? Didn't he go to the Cowboys?
No, he went to the Giants.
Oh, okay, my bad. I was like, wait a second. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I go Homer.
Second pick in the to the Giants in the second round.
Yeah, I think with that draft capital, if you are a Tyrone Tracy owner, I think that kind of just tells you maybe where they're going to go with Tyrone Tracy. I think he can still be a weapon, but I've been saying this. It depends on where they draft the running back and the type of running back they do draft. I think Travion could take over this backfield. Personally, I liked him, when he was my first overall running back last year. Now he's going in the early second round to the Giants, who definitely can. Wow, Jalen Royals. Wow, okay, so this guy is falling here.
Look, I'm trying to understand what reality I'm living in right now. Because, look, guys, I understand Ted McMillan is not my consensus 102. But I am struggling to understand how he's still on the board right now. I love Jalen Royals. There's no one who loves Jalen Royals more than me, at least from what I've seen on the internet right now. But, I mean, y'all bugging right now. We're got a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Ted McMillan's a good player. Maybe I haven't talked enough about the good things that Ted McMillan does. I know I don't have a consensus 102 like everyone else, but he goes to the Jets' 7th overall pick. I guess you don't like the landing spot, but I'll be damned if I'm let Ted McMillan, the 7th overall pick in the NFL draft, a very good prospect, fall past the 109. I mean, that's crazy.
Him at 106. That's why I said I was contemplating against two players. I went Homer. I would have gone Ted McMillan there.
Yeah, I mean that's wild to me to see Ted McMillan fall that far. I get it, guys. Like you might be like, what the hell? Like Zach's talking about how he doesn't have Ted consensus wide receiver 1, but at the same time, come on, like it's not like I dislike the guy. I still think he's deserving of being a top 4 pick in the NFL in the rookie draft. So that's kind of crazy, especially with this world we're living in right now with these landing spots and draft capital and stuff. So that was a shock to me.
Yeah, you get Colston Loveland, who goes to the Los Angeles Chargers in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, obviously a lovable landing spot for him. Tyler Warren, I actually don't know where he went. He went to the Saints in the top 10 pick. Who's the quarterback there? Is it Derek Carr? Did they move on from Derek Carr? These guys are in salary cap hell.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting landing spot. And then Emeka Mbuka, who falls at the 112, who goes to the Baltimore Ravens, which I know a lot of people don't like.
Yeah, I would hate that. Not only for fantasy for Igbuka, but also for Zay Flowers, and it would just be disgusting. I mean, Zay Flowers made a Pro Bowl this year, and he was like one of the most mid starters at the position for a young upcoming rookie. You know what I mean? It's just, this would suck. We have to recognize that Lamar Jackson's a very good player for fantasy. He's a very good player in the real NFL, but he doesn't reliably give you wide receivers you can start week in, week out. It's just too inconsistent. And maybe that changes if they move on from Mark Andrews, but yeah, it'd be a tough sell for me if he actually went to the Ravens. That is the end of round 1. Got to ask you guys who you think the best value pick is in round 1. I think I know where it's going to go, but who is the best value here in round number 1? And by the way, a little update for you guys. We have a like goal today of 150 likes. Now, if we reach that like goal, which is ambitious, then we will do a second mock draft for you guys on today's stream. So be a friend, smash that like button. We're already at 63, I think. If you guys help us get to 150 likes, we will absolutely do a second mock draft. So again, be a friend, smash that like button. Let's see if we can reach 150 together. But let's have a geese, shall we? Let's see. So we've got Daniel says Tet is a steal. Tet, we've got another Tet. Tet is the biggest value by far. Tet is the biggest steal. Evan says the mock is trash. Throw it out and restart. My friend, you should see the rookie drafts we saw last year. I can promise you crazy things will happen in your rookie drafts. Let's see. If Hunter plays wide receiver, he's not wide receiver 1. I've said he is wide receiver 1. Egbuka, Jeff says Tet. Okay, so a lot of people saying Tet. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's Tet.
Who drafted Tet? No, this guy. Yeah, I mean, smart guy.
This guy, he's a smart guy. I don't know who drafted him, but at the 109, getting Ted McMillan, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I haven't shown Tet enough love. I don't understand why he doesn't go higher than this, but he's a very good player. I mean, he's a very, very good player. You're Drake London, Mike Evans type. I know that's everyone's comp, but it's the comp. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I think another thing you have to remember is like the long-term answer is not Aaron Rodgers. But if Aaron Rodgers does stay, at least he's playing with Aaron Rodgers in his rookie year. Hypothetically.
Yeah, which is that good? I don't know. I mean, because if Aaron Rodgers goes back to New York, does that mean Devontae Adams goes back to New York?
Well, then what does that mean for Tet then?
I think it just means you bet on a really good prospect,
Yeah.
Not the best route runner, but he wins with leverage. He wins with size. He's pretty fluid after the catch. I think he's much better after the catch than people give him credit for. Great blocker. He'll get on the field early. Strong, reliable hands. I mean, he's a great prospect. He really is.
I think that's what, like, in this world, let's just say in this world, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams comes back. Yeah, you're going to have to bet on him, but I think a lot of people, he will fall in mock drafts. Or in drafts, in my personal opinion. In not so sharp leagues.
Yeah.
Just because of this. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is not there, Devontae Adams walks. Now people are contemplating: is he better than Garrett Wilson? I don't think so. I think you would say you wouldn't think so either. Then now he's just a high-end wide receiver too, on an offense that doesn't have a quarterback. So I feel like either way, he could potentially fall into this 106, 109 range.
Okay, so the Jets sign Sam Darnold again, or they get a quarterback next year, and you've let a very good prospect fall to the 109 because of landing spot. I get it, but I don't know. I think it's too much.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's too much to go to the 109. I said I was contemplating at the 106.
Yeah.
So I was there with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, over Jalen Royals.
Technically, yeah, and I love Jalen Royals, so I'm not going to say anything negative about that pick, but I do think it was a little bit too early. But even if you look at hit rates, like if you want to make hit rates an argument in favor, I mean, well, you've got a round 1 wide receiver with a 48% hit rate and round 2 running back with a 65% hit rate. So if you want to make that argument for Henderson, I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah.
But like the Royals over him is tough just because, again, I love Royals, but he's not a first round pick in this world. All right, again, light goal today is 150. If we reach that goal, we will go ahead and pop off a second mock draft for you guys. I can tell you we're already halfway there, so I do appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Again, be a friend. If you have yet to hit that like button, show some love to the channel. Let's get into round number 2. Still a lot of good players available. 2 tight ends come off the board, Egbuka, and there goes Shedeur Sanders. I thought he was a pretty good value. It seems like everyone has Cam Ward quarterback 1, and that's fine. I have Shedeur quarterback 1, and I just think he's a safer prospect. And I don't think there really is any safe prospect in this entire class, but I think he is the safest one. They both get similar draft capital, right? Cam Ward was the 3rd overall pick. You had Shedeur as the 6th overall pick. And to be honest, I just don't see how Shedeur fails with Brock Bowers over the middle of the field. If you ask Shedeur Sanders to throw the ball 15 yards to 20 yards max each play and just run an offense Brock Purdy-esque, then he's going to be successful. He's going to be successful, especially with a name like Brock Bowers that he can funnel the ball to over the middle of the field. So I thought that Shedeur Sanders was a really good value. I mean, I probably would have taken Shedeur over like Egbuka in this scenario. Probably would have taken him over the tight ends. I don't know for sure. But I really, really like the pick there at the 201 for Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I don't mind Shedeur Sanders there. I think it is great. I think he could be the best value potentially.
Yeah.
Already in the 2nd round, but we got to wait and see how all this pans out.
Quinton Judkins comes off the board next, and the reason he fell, in case you guys are just joining us, is because he went to the Packers in round 2. So I think people are just a little bit confused because, this is kind of the Zach Charbonnet, Ken Walker scenario where, all right, it's realistic because it sucks, and that happens in the real NFL. And, I mean, it would just be really difficult to understand exactly how to value Quinton Judkins. You got Josh Jacobs on a long-term deal. He was playing really, really well. Obviously, they drafted Marshawn Lloyd last year as well. But as good as Quinton Judkins is, what does this mean long-term? And, I can see why it would be confusing on knowing exactly where to draft him there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough, obviously. And then you see Matthew Golden, who goes in the 1st round, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, excuse me, the 2nd round to the Dallas Cowboys. So then he's flanking over there with CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
Then Jalen Milroe, who goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1st round. So you get a 1st round quarterback in the 2nd round.
That's crazy. Especially with the rushing upside he has. I mean, I know he's got a lot of warts, but I mean, that's real good value in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so as well, especially with the quarterback hit rate in the 1st round. And then you see Dylan Sampson, who goes to the Las Vegas Raiders in the 3rd round.
Yep.
And then I am on the clock here, having a look at who I should be taking.
Brizzleton says, I'm just excited to see the guys and right wrong about again. Best part of Dynasty is taking risks. Have seen a lot of buzz for Jackson Dart. He's on my list of players to scout before V2. Yes, the Jets are not good, Scribbles. I agree, they are not good.
Man, I'll take my time here. Let's see.
Brizzleton, you're funny. What are you thinking here, Badaki? At the 206, Dylan Sampson goes right ahead of him.
Yeah,
I need to copy this link so I can have it on a different page and start thinking about my next pick.
I think I am going to go. So all these guys are gone, right? Jalen Rose is gone. Just looking at these
By the way, I really love the Matthew Golden pick. Cowboys early 2nd round. I think he could be the perfect complement to a CeeDee Lamb. I see a ton of Brandon Cooks in this game, which is hilarious because obviously Brandon Cooks has been on the Cowboys but like a young Brandon Cooks. Young Brandon Cooks, T.Y. Hilton, I think he'd be a perfect number 2. That dude's hands are ridiculous. He is so sure with those hands. You go DJ Giddens here.
Yeah, he went to the Patriots in the 3rd round.
Yep.
I like that landing spot there. Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson struggling a little bit. And maybe he takes over that backfield.
A little bit. Struggling a little bit. I mean, yeah, I don't think he deserves to be a starter in the league anymore. But obviously, I've been anti him, so maybe that's just my bias coming out. I don't know. Maybe I have a problem. I probably have a problem. That's probably the real issue here. Still a lot of good players, man. I mean, I'm looking at the board right now, and I'm like, dang, Jaden Higgins is a great pick. He goes to the Commanders in the 2nd round. Great landing spot. They need a true number 2, and he could be that for that team, I think. And then right after Cam Skattebo, who, those were the 2 players I was really considering myself. Skattebo goes to the Browns early round 3. They desperately need help at running back, and I think he could be their answer. So I really like those 2 picks a lot, actually. I'm a big fan of those picks made. Oh yeah. I think I know exactly what I'm going to do, but let me just double check the rest of the board.
Oh yeah.
I get to take my guy here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, but this, oh boy, there's still some great players on the board here, y'all.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Okay. We're going to take my guy here. We're going to take Woody Marks off the board here at the 209. 3rd round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. I actually think he would fit this offense really, really well. I mean, thinking about him in that it would be like a Jet. What was his last name? Jet McKinnon. It'd be like a Jet McKinnon role with a plus on top of it. Like, he'd probably get some more carries. He'd definitely be used on 3rd downs in the red zone. And I mean, if you're watching any of these Chiefs games, they are not using Pacheco at all. I mean, they're using an almost 30-year-old Kareem Hunt. And
why, though?
Well, because Pacheco is not the same player yet. He has to go through that recovery cycle that Tony Pollard went through. But does that lead them to believe they need to address the running back position, that, it's an open competition next year? Maybe. And I think Woody Marks could be the answer for them. I'm a big fan of his game, and I love the fit with the Chiefs there.
Yeah. Xavier Restrepo, he goes to the New England Patriots as well. And I think he goes in the early 3rd round, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Yeah, so they get Xavier Restrepo, and they go out and get DJ Giddens in the 3rd round there. So 2 guys back-to-back going to the New England Patriots. Now Tyler is on the clock here with Tyler Warren. Let's see.
Yeah, Patriots could add some low-key players. What did they do with the first pick in this scenario? Their first pick, they did Will Johnson.
Yeah.
And then they kind of proceeded to follow that up with a bunch of offensive help, if I remember right. Oh, well, no, they went defense again in the 2nd. But then in the 3rd round, they add Restrepo. They added DJ Giddens, like you mentioned. So, yeah. Offensive lineman. All right, so... Yeah. To end the 2nd round, we have Trey Harris and Devin Neal. Trey Harris, where does he go? He goes to the Chiefs in round 3. And then we have Devin Neal, who...
He goes to the Panthers in the 4th.
Panthers in the 4th. That would push him pretty far down my board, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, this is not the best landing spot. Obviously, they drafted Jonathan Brooks last year, but, they just extended Chuba Hubbard. Where does he fit into this offense? I mean, look, maybe he has a role this year for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I think for the long-term answer, I just feel like he's just going to, once Jonathan Brooks is healthy, he should be ahead of Devin Neal, unless Devin Neal makes a significant impact.
Devin Neal's a great player, too. I mean, I would not be... if Devin Neal went 2nd round, it would not surprise me. But it's such a stacked class that I don't think he will. He's probably more around 3. He's such a good player, but yeah, that's a tough picture to paint for old Devin. Trey Harris obviously went to the Chiefs. All right, who do you guys think was the best value in round 2? Best value in round 2. Let us know. What do you guys think in the chat? And I'll start with you, Badaki. Who do you think is the best value here in round 2 today?
I think it's both the quarterbacks. So you get 2 first-round quarterbacks, one top 5, or excuse me, one top 6, and another top 20.
Yeah.
First round hit rates are pretty significant here. Yeah, it is super flex, so it may not be exciting, especially with both of these guys, but I think if you can get,
I think it makes it exciting because it's super flex personally.
well, sure, that makes sense.
To get those guys that late. I mean, I 100% agree with you. To have a Sanders that late, top 6 pick, like you said, to the Raiders, Tom Brady, Brock Purdy. And then Jalen Milroe to the Steelers. I mean, he probably, what do you think they do in this scenario? Do they re-sign Justin to like a 2-year deal and let him start and then let Jalen sit behind him? What do they do? I don't know.
I think it's the opposite. I think they had a lot of success with Russell and he's a leader in there, that they will let Justin walk.
Right.
And then they can just have someone like Jalen Milroe be young, sit behind Russ for the year, and if he does struggle, he comes second half of the season.
Only thing is, I think Justin has gone through a lot in his career that Jalen needs to go through, and I don't know that Russ ever had to go through those things because he was just a better passer coming out.
Well, I guess he went through it. He went through in the past couple of years, and we went to the Broncos. He was pretty shit there.
But it was never like hey, you're a freak athlete. Now you need to figure out how to accurately run an offense and with precision.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Anyway, I mean, that's a hypothetical. I really doubt the Steelers actually take Jalen Milroe in round 1, but in this world, I think you're right. It makes a huge amount of sense because he is a very, very big steal. Dylan, I see you, man. I mean, I spent like a full 2 minutes talking about how good the Jaden Higgins pick was. I see you, man. I love the passion, but I'm not sure what else I can say. I thought it was a very, very good pick. But what does the chat say here? Michael loves Trey. Dylan loves Higgins. We've got Troy saying Shador, another Sanders, Sanders or Trey Harris, Sanders by a Billy. Key says he loves Golden. JW says quarterback 2 at the 201 is nuts.
Yeah, it is kind of wild.
It is kind of wild. Scataboo, you're good, Dylan. Love the passion. Love the passion. All right. Update on our like goal, which is 150, and we reach that goal, we'll pop off a second mock draft for you guys. We have already eclipsed 100, so we are just 50 likes away from our goal. And if we reach that goal, we will go ahead and do a second mock draft for you guys. A whole new group of people can get in. Well, let's start this round number 3. Still some great players out there, by the way.
Yeah, there's some people.
Oh yeah, I know some of these names.
Shout out to Good Burger.
Trey Harris is interesting, by the way, because I really thought he was going to have like a hive, and I think he does, but not to the same extent. Like, do you remember the Tez Johnson hype last year at this time? I feel like it was way louder than the current Trey Harris hive.
You talking about like the Tez Johnson that we have here in this one, or are you talking about another wide receiver that went in last year's class? Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Devontae Walker. Sorry, is what I meant to say.
Okay.
Devontae Walker this time last year. I don't know if you guys remember, but like the hype
I mean,
was...
you had the hype of Devontae Walker. We had the hype of Roman Wilson. We had the hype of a couple years ago Jonathan Mingo.
Yep.
We had the hype of Sky Moore. It wasn't really a hype. I guess he just went to a landing spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is definitely hype. I get what you're saying.
I just thought there might be more of that at this point, but haven't seen that obviously translate yet. Alec A.O. Manners just came off the board here. I'll just spend a quick second because I did say, I'll just take a second because it did say when I saw the pick, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. And I will just explain myself. So he goes to the Bills in the second round. I mean, look, what can we say? It's good draft capital. I don't think he gets in the first round, so I think second is the best case scenario for him. He goes to the Bills. I guess there's some ambiguity there, but I don't think he overtakes Keon necessarily. But just, I'm just not in love with him as a player, man. I really, based off of like the hype around Alec's name right now, I see a lot of people saying he should go first round. I was really underwhelmed. I mean, obviously you love the size at 6'2", 210 pounds. He moves really well for 6'2", 210, by the way. There's a lot of fluidity to his game. Wins with that physicality. He had bad quarterback play all year, and he had to overcome it. I think he's really good at manipulating defenders. But is physicality like his only calling card? I'm really trying to understand, like, what does this guy really hang his hat on? Like, honestly, what does Alec Aomanor hang his hat on as a player? Because I don't see much separation at all. I mean, almost all of his targets I watched were accompanied by tight coverage. Literally, like, go watch some All-22 Alec Aomanor film and tell me how many targets has he actually created separation on. Because, yeah, you can blame it on the quarterback play, but quite frankly, like, everything is a contested catch for this guy. I think maybe 10% of his catches are actually where he's created separation. I mean, after diving into his route running, I think there's a real lack of development there. Big body, like, he's fluid, but there's just no nuance. He just wins with physicality. And the hands, people want to highlight the hands, and I get it, because if you want to put on a highlight reel, you will see some very impressive catches from Alec Aomanor, but they are not consistent. They are not consistent hands. There's some concentration drops, but there's even like some lack of confidence at time in his hands as well. He relies too much on his body. Honestly, if you're watching the film and you're telling me he doesn't rely too much on his body, please help me understand what I am missing, because there's too many body catches here. He's very inconsistent at the high point, by the way, with the ball. Again, sometimes relies on the body a little bit too much, but it's up and down with this guy. He'll make a highlight play and then he'll go up the next time and not even high point the ball. It's really confusing. Like, I can't really wrap my head around him. I believe that he really could have used another year in college. I really think he should have came back. And if he didn't want to stay at Stanford, he should have transferred in the portal, because he could have used another year entirely. His contested catch rate was 48%. He had a pretty high drop rate. Reception percentage was 202nd worst out of 261 wide receivers with at least 50 targets. He doesn't offer much after the catch at all. There's not much yak appeal. The analytics across the board are very poor. I mean, this is kind of Keon Coleman. That's funny we're talking about this, because Keon Coleman and Michael Pittman were my two ceiling comps for him. Keon Coleman, Michael Pittman. And it's funny that he gets put to the Bills, because I think he might be a worse athlete than Keon was.
I think there's a little bit like of a similar situation. I can't remember the player last year that was like, well, did you see whether it's Keon Coleman or did you see somebody go against this cornerback? Obviously, Travis Hunter, I guess in this class specifically, is generational and it's two completely different things compared to that cornerback. But that was the argument last year. Oh, dude, yeah, Keon Coleman has the size, but did you see this game against the best corner for this draft?
Well, you know, one thing you will love about it, if you like Alec, is you will watch his game versus Colorado last year, where he faced Travis Hunter, and he completely shredded Travis Hunter. I think he had 294 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, all in one half. But outside of that game, I'm really struggling to see the hype. Like, if that game doesn't happen, I'm not even sure we're really talking about him, respectfully. And to be fair, anyone in the draft community is going to tell you that Travis Hunter grew a ton as a cornerback from 23 to 24. He grew in incredible strides. He was nowhere near the player he is today. But again, I like Alec. I just don't know what exactly his calling card is, because he's supposed to be this big physical contested catch guy, but his hands are very inconsistent, in my opinion. Too many body catches. I really think he should have gone back for another year. And I don't see him ever stretching the field vertically. Like, he just doesn't have... I mean, if you watch any of his film, and again, there's not much nuance in the route running, but if you ask him to go deep, he is not creating separation. He's just not.
He's not, but he's still going deep, though. That's what we like to do.
And maybe that's why his contested catch rate is so high. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I don't know. Anyway, and by the way, I'm not saying that he was the wrong pick here. If anyone thinks that's the takeaway here, that's not at all what I'm saying. It's that people have been telling me to scout him. I finally did it, and I just want to tell you my thoughts. So I don't think he should be drafted, and I wouldn't draft him in the second round of the NFL draft. I'd probably draft him in the third round based off his pure physicality and his athleticism. But yeah, overall, I just wasn't that impressed. And maybe people wanted to hear the thoughts. Maybe they didn't.
No,
all right,
that's great.
Next pick was Tez Johnson. He went to the Panthers. Terrible pick. This guy's way too small. He can't play football because he's too small. So sorry, you made the wrong pick.
Oh, Zach's on one tonight. Hey guys, we just call him out.
I'm kidding.
Call him out on his tweets right now. Do it.
No, I just think it's hilarious how many people loved him based off the film, and now that he weighed in, they're like, actually, I'm not going to draft him anywhere. It's like, all right.
Nah, yeah, I definitely get it.
And not everybody's saying that, but there's a majority of people who are like making that case.
Yeah, he goes to the Panthers in the 3rd round. It's an interesting landing spot. Obviously, anything can happen when he goes there. R.J. Harvey is next.
I like it. R.J. Harvey's a nice player.
Go? He goes to the Steelers in the 4th round.
Yep.
Okay.
Jackson Dart. Where did Dart go?
He went to the Seahawks, if I'm not mistaken, in the 3rd round as well. So sits behind a year behind Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And I'm on the clock here. I don't see Jalen Knoll on here.
Oh, really? Is Knoll not there?
Nah.
Why does he not get more respect, man? It's great. Like, I know we had someone, rightfully so, Dylan was talking up Jaden Higgins, but why is no one talking up Jalen Knoll? Because that is a name that should be getting a lot more respect.
So that's Jalen Knoll. I don't know if you want to put his photo there. You don't have to, but just so everyone knows, he does go to the Houston Texans in the 3rd round. Obviously, no Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell's going to be out for the year. They need another wide receiver, and they don't draft one in the first 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a landing spot with opportunity.
Yeah. I like it. All right, so Knoll goes off the board. Honestly, that would have been my pick. So really, really like that pick there. 3rd round to the Texans. I keep comparing him to Josh Downs because I genuinely don't think people understand how good this player is. And he's got a ton of versatility. You can really play him anywhere you want. Ollie Gordon went to the 49ers in the 7th round. So,
well, there's going to be opportunity. There always is somehow, some way.
That's true. At some point, he will start a game for them. So, and then Brashard Smith also went ahead of Ollie Gordon. Brashard Smith is my favorite sleeper in this class. He goes to the Cowboys in round 5. Did the Cowboys add a running back? Or is that the first running back they added?
Dude, if you're a Cowboys fan,
that would be awesome.
I have no idea. That would be awesome for Brashard, but that would also suck as a Cowboys fan.
For Cowboys fans, yeah. I mean,
why aren't you taking...
We don't need to give them anything worth living for. The Cowboys fans, they're already obnoxious enough.
I saw a tweet or a video today. It was saying how Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, were born, went through college, went through high school, went through college, became pro athletes, went to the NFL. Both made it to the NFC Championships before the Dallas Cowboys had.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was lucky in it.
I love the Brashard Smith pick, honestly. I really like that. I like that a lot. The only running back drafted by the Cowboys. He goes 5th round. I think he'd be eligible to overtake Rico Dowdle at some point in that backfield. Maybe that is a Tyrone Tracy of this year. It really would be. I'm going to take Harold Fannin, which I'm surprised he's still available, honestly. Because in this world, he goes to the Colts in the 2nd round. I hate the Colts as a landing spot just as much as the next guy, but I think Harold Fannin's a baller. I mean, he's going to be a integral part of an NFL offense.
I agree. I was just thinking back to this Cowboys. If they don't draft the running back, who's available in free agency next year?
It doesn't matter. They got Brashard Smith, baby. They're good to go.
Aaron Jones, Najee Harris.
Yeah,
Javonte Williams is interesting.
Najee wouldn't be a terrible Javonte or Najee wouldn't be a terrible fit.
Who else is out there? That's probably it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like one of these other running backs are going to be pushed up the board because of how desperate they are. Like, would we be surprised if Ashton does go top 10 and then the Cowboys are like, fuck, like,
yeah.
Do I wait until the middle of the 2nd round to take a running back? Anyways.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I would be shocked if the Cowboys don't go hard after that position. Pat Bryant comes off the board, and, I did scout him. I don't mind this pick, honestly, because it's the Titans in round 4, but I just don't think I'm going to be a Pat Bryant stant this offseason. Just really not sure. There's nothing that really stood out to me, I guess. And again, like, you guys don't have to value my opinion. Watch the tape for yourself. It's great that we all have differences of opinion. but nothing really that was grabbing me about Pat Bryant. Nothing really that I looked at and I thought this could really translate to the next. I mean, of course, he's got size. What can you say? You can't devalue his size, but I don't know. I wasn't blown away. Will Howard, by the way, who went in the 5th round to the Titans. Isaiah Bond, I was going to say, look, I know the draft cap, the landing spot isn't great. Isaiah Bond, he goes to the Eagles, but it's a round 2 pick. He's a very good player. I was kind of shocked to see him fall that far.
The rumors right now with A.J. Brown.
What are the rumors with A.J. Brown?
Well, not the rumors, but maybe it's not real rumors. They're probably just people talking on Twitter.
Okay.
That I've been reading. So let me clarify that. They were just saying, well, he could be traded. I think he's coming on to, one of 2 last years of his contract, and he can go to the Patriots because what's his name really wanted him.
I'd be shocked if they moved on from him, considering I'd be making the Super Bowl and all
100%. But obviously, I just don't know. I was just reading a tweet. There's no backing behind it. I don't even know there was 2 years in his contract.
Well, they have an out in 26, but he's signed through 2029.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a fair question from Kegs, who says, how is Bond a very good player? He's never produced in great situations at Bama and Texas. I'll say, first off, I think you may be overrating some of those situations a little bit. For example, please tell me the wide receiver who is saying, oh man, I hope I get drafted to the same team that Jalen Milroe gets drafted to because I can't wait to play with him in the NFL. So again, with respect, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think anyone in this world is wanting to play the wide receiver position with a quarterback like Jalen Milroe. So his time at Alabama, honestly, I think is excusable. Now, if you go and you look at his time at Texas, clearly what I didn't say is Bond's a better player than Matthew Golden, because I love Matthew Golden. Golden's a better player. But Isaiah Bond is still a good player. There's just this weird off-field ego that we're trying to get past at the moment with him. But if you watch his film and you put his film on, I mean, he's an incredibly advanced high IQ route runner. He's a very good route runner. I mean, this guy's got a complete bag. There's a meld between the mind and the body that you just don't see very much. Lightning quick, short area quickness, game speed is there. He can beat you down the field. He can beat you with short area quickness, quick first step, versatility, quick release off the line of scrimmage, double moves. But you're right, he hasn't produced. But my friend, he's a 312 in this draft. He was a 2nd round pick. I mean, I think it was a very good pick from Mikey here at the 12th position. So I definitely understand that conversation, because I think he's only had 100 receiving yards in about 2% of his games. I've been preaching that as well. It's been a big concern. I'm right there with you. But he's a good player. Now, does he have the same work ethic as some of the other people? Maybe not. And maybe that's why he falls far in this draft. But if you want to talk about talent and you want to remove everything, you want to remove production, you just want to watch film and talk about pure, raw talent, Isaiah Bond is a top 5 talent at the wide receiver position in this class. That doesn't mean that's where I'm ranking him. That doesn't mean that's where he's going to get drafted, because he probably won't, because he hasn't done it in college. But there's clearly some disconnect between some work ethic, some disagreements with the different colleges that he's been at and coaches he's been a part of or played with. But yeah, that's my answer to you. I think he's a very talented player. But of course, I'm not going to rank him high enough.
Yeah.
But the 312, I mean, what are we talking about? It's a 312.
Yeah, we'll take a shot, see what happens.
Yeah. But hopefully that is a good answer for you. That's I can shed some of the things that I see, maybe. Savion Williams, I really wanted to draft. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised he was still available. I mean, he's a really special athlete, man. Savion Williams, I mean, he might be the best athlete in the entire class. He was on Bruce Feldman's freak list this offseason. He's 6'5", 225 pounds. Let me read you out something that Bruce wrote about him. Okay, so hit a 10.6 on the broad jump and posted a 40-inch vertical. This year, he squatted 600 pounds. He bench pressed 355. And he power cleaned 350. And he also clocked 22.5 miles per hour. I think he's a really fun watch. Like, there's a lot of Laviska Shenault there, which is concerning, obviously. Fifth-year breakout, you know. So all that, you can... If you want to find a red flag on his profile, you won't have to look very far, guys.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's an X factor as a yak guy. I mean, I think Cordero Patterson is the only true ceiling comp. And I would just ask you guys, if Cordero Patterson came into today's NFL, would you be excited about that? Because I would. But, I mean, we're talking about in the 4th round here. I'm a big fan of taking a shot on him in the 4th round, is all I'm saying. Again, a ridiculous athlete. Definitely a lot to work on. 5th-year breakout, TCU tag, you know. But I think he's a good player. And I want to show him some love. All right, 4th round here. Let me make a pick.
What are you thinking?
RJ Harvey already went, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I'll grab Khalil Mullins.
Gosh. Nice.
Who isn't currently available. That's not Riley Leonard. I'll put Khalil. I don't have a graphic of Khalil Mullins, I don't think. But he went to the Chargers. Unless he was already drafted. He was already drafted, sorry. So let me take someone else in. Actually, I'll take Jarquez Hunter. Let me change that.
Jarquez, yeah.
Yeah, I actually really like this fit. Jarquez goes to the Commanders. I think he's one of the most under-discussed players in the class. He's a very, very good football player. He goes round 5 to the Commanders. I think this is the perfect Austin Eckler replacement long-term. And I'm a huge fan of his game. This is like a pack-a-punch type of running back. There's so much strength and missed tackle ability in such a small body. I'm a huge fan of his game, man. He's a good pass catcher. One of the most efficient running backs in college football. I think he averaged 7 yards per carry, if I'm not mistaken. In the SEC, that's very impressive. And just always turning lemons into lemonade.
Lemons into lemonade.
I love my running backs who turn lemons into lemonade.
At the 410, Ja'Cory Brooks. Let me see where he went.
I like that pick.
He went to the Chargers in the 5th round.
Ja'Cory's got a ton of natural talent. I mean, he's another one of these guys like Isaiah Bond where the expectations for them as prospects were through the roof. And that's because they're like these God-given athletes that you can't teach. But unfortunately, you have to question the work ethic because it's like, how are you this talented and you've only come this far? So it's just another one of those players, I think, that I think if he had the work ethic of like a Puka Nacua or something, could have been one of the best receivers in college football. And it's hard for me to really question his work ethic because I don't know him. But you have to try to make conclusions a little bit with the information that you have.
Yeah.
You know? And it probably sounds judgmental. But that's you know what I'm trying to say? It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough situation to try and navigate, trying to give you the most accurate, but then also trying to separate it, but also combine it at the same time. It's tough when you look at these prospects.
Yeah. All right, guys, that is the end of the first mock draft. We are currently 19 likes away from our goal of 150 likes. Now, if we reach 19 likes in the next, let's say, 5 minutes, we'll put a 5-minute timer on it. We'll answer some questions. Then we will do a second mock draft. Otherwise, if we aren't able to hit the goal, that's okay. We've got a ton of team reviews to get to. So, again, if you want to see another mock draft, a whole new group of people, then be a friend and smash that like button to show some love on today's stream. Again, only 19 likes away from it. I have not watched Kyle Williams. Would love to take a second and watch him. There's just so many names right now floating around that I can actually tell you guys the list of players that I am going to be scouting this week before we release V2.
And that list is Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart. I'm going to be watching LaQuint Allen, Bashul Tootin, who I really love, but I haven't watched all 22 on him yet. I've scouted a ton of new wide receivers this last couple weeks. You know, like the Savion Williams, the Matthew Golden, the Ellick, Ty Felton, Pat Bryant, Nick Nash, Caden Prather. But there's just only so many people that you can scout. I mean, the list is endless, really.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yeah, Savion is a freak. I agree. Can Omarion beat out Genty if he gets a better landing spot? I don't know. I mean, I think the issue is I just think wherever Genty goes, he's the guy. So I don't
he's
really
gonna be the guy.
You know what I mean? Like 100%. If he goes to the Bengals, I'm not like, oh no, Chase Brown.
Yeah, but like if he goes to I'm trying to think of the top running back. Like if he goes to the Jets with Breece Hall,
I think he would beat out Breece Hall. I think
if he goes
that would be an
Saints,
indication that they're not going to sign Breece Hall long term anyway.
If he goes to the Saints with Alvin Kamara,
I'd still draft him over.
If he goes to the 49ers, which that would be dumb, but like that is a landing spot at the top.
Yeah,
top 10, top 12.
That tells me that CMC's injury is very bad.
Well, there you go. I don't think he falls anywhere outside of that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I mean, you don't exactly what Andy says. You don't draft him without, and because he's going to go first round. You don't spend a first round pick on a running back unless you expect that guy to be your guy.
Yeah.
Connor says, is Kincaid a dead asset? I'm like leaning on the side of like, is Kincaid actually good? I don't know if he is. You know what I mean? Like, I actually don't know if he's good anymore.
We just haven't seen anything to like indicate like he hasn't been a feature ever.
No.
I think maybe I don't think he's ever had like a game over 9 targets.
But
I could be wrong. Maybe he has one or two.
I feel with the room they have, if he hasn't done that, it's on him. You should have been able to have done that by now. With that room.
Without the feature?
He's not. To me, it says you're not worthy of being featured. If you can't even like separate yourself from Dawson Knox at times, it's just, I'm sorry.
The real question is, what is Joe Brady's history with tight ends? If I remember correctly, I'm trying to think of.
I don't know enough about Joe Brady's history in general to tell you the answer to that.
Because maybe that was just something of an oversight, but technically at the same time, Joe Brady wasn't the offensive coordinator. Was he the offensive coordinator when Dalton came in? I think Joe Brady took over. I think it was somebody else.
What's really confusing is like if you go back and you watch Dalton Kincaid at Utah, you're like convinced. Even today, if I went back and I watched the film of Dalton Kincaid at Utah, I would still probably be, and I didn't see him in the NFL yet, I would probably still be convinced that he would be a dominant target earner in the NFL. And he's just not. He's still just not.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
I'll be right back.
Sure. Maybe it's a mixture of Dalton Kincaid. Maybe it's a mixture of him not being a feature, but I don't think it's all on Dalton. Ken Dorsey was OC, then Brady took over. Okay. I'm gonna look it up right now. So Joe Brady, if I'm not mistaken, I remember him being like with the Panthers because I remember Curtis Samuel being there, but I don't remember a Panthers tight end being featured there at the time. So, anyways,
did we reach our like goal of 150? Are we gonna do another mock draft here? What's the total at right now?
6 likes away.
All we need is 6 more likes, and we will do another mock draft for you guys. We'll keep answering some of these questions, but we are very close. JW says, do you think running back or wide receiver is a better dart throw in the 4th or 5th rounds of fantasy drafts? Well, I can tell you that the historic hit rate says running back. Okay, because running backs in the 4th and 5th round have about a 17% hit rate. And if you look at wide receivers, it's more around 6.5%. So I would say overall, running back in general is probably the better dart throw. However, it is very circumstantial. For example, we really liked Puka Nacua. Didn't have great draft capital. However, I really liked Xavier Hutchinson. We really liked Tank Dell. So, it doesn't always hit, right? And it doesn't always work out. Like, you could very easily paint the picture for Puka Nacua in LA. Sean McVay's history with wide receivers. Outside of Cooper Kupp, there's no one else there. It was very easy to paint that picture. But if Puka Nacua had gone to the Eagles in the 6th round, probably wouldn't have had the same amount of love for him, would I? I probably wouldn't have drafted him as much as I did. It's still very much circumstantial. I can get on I can make a stand for a player, but this was the Adonai Mitchell conundrum last year. You and I were out on Adonai Mitchell. We didn't draft him anywhere. I have 0 shares of Adonai Mitchell. We didn't even have him ranked as a 2nd round pick in rookie drafts. And it was like, what the hell? You know how talented he is. Yes, we totally get it. But the situation is just atrocious.
Yeah, he was buried. He got buried deep.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but anyways.
Yeah. Those hit rates are for fantasy, my friend. And in fact, we are going to be adding them to our 2025 rookie report in version 2. So if you want to know the hit rates of every position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, or every position combined in each round of the NFL draft and what their hit rate was for fantasy purposes, that will be in version 2 of our 2025 rookie report. Which you can get by being a member with the promo code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. But that is integral to the way I draft each year. Did we reach the goal?
Last year. Yeah, we did reach the goal. 152 likes. We appreciate you guys.
All right, let's go to this next mock draft then. I'm going to send this to you on Facebook. And I'm going to join. I'll join at the 3 spot, I guess. I'll join at the 11 spot. And then if people want to join, how can they get in, Badaki?
Yeah, guys, join our Discord. That link is in the description. I just put that link in the chat. Join our Discord. Go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs. Then go to content releases.
No, announcements.
Go to announcements, excuse me. Go to announcements, and that's exactly how you can join each and every mock draft there. And I'll send that link out here right now. It used to be called content releases, and then we switched it up. All right, 3, 2, 1. There you go. Fantasyland tab, orange footballs, under announcements. First come, first serve.
And we'll do more quick fire with this one. We'll do same settings though.
Kovner, we're gonna be grading your or reviewing your Dynasty team today, brother. Glad you're here with us. Just keep that in mind when you're watching later on today. I think. Let me just triple check before I put him out.
Yeah, he's the 2nd review on today's stream.
The 2nd review today. So if you are here with us, maybe we should do that. Travesty, Kovner, and Kevney 20. We're definitely gonna get to you 3 today. So if you are here, all right, stay tuned.
This is a quick fire round. All right, tight end premium, super flex, PPR, 12 team. And we'll go fire round here. Again, the same landing spots that we just used from Sammy Stack's 7-round mock draft. I'll put that in the comment section in the chat box there for you. But Ashton Genty goes at the 101. Then we see Tet McMillan off the board next. Remember last time he fell to the 109, and a lot of people were upset by that. And I get it. I mean, that's pretty far for him to fall.
Yeah,
but he goes at the 102 here.
102. Now, Sammy Stacks, the intern, not intern.
Yes, our intern goes Amarion Hampton, and that's a great pick because Hampton, obviously, I think we'd all fall in love with him to the Vikings in the 1st round.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go crazy with that.
Yeah.
Tanya Macy's up on the board here.
Daniel Macy is on the clock. And he's got some great options here. I mean, again, it's just this mock is another example of why I'm trying to trade back from the 102 to anywhere in the 107 range. I want to stay in that range, but it's a great tier this year.
Yeah.
As Luther comes off the board, remember he went to the Bucks in the first round. Really love him. Just don't like that landing spot very much. Maybe because it would mean Jalen McMillan would be.
Selfishly, I think it's a good landing spot, but selfishly, yes, I understand.
Yeah. There are better landing spots for sure. Like I've fallen in love with Burden to the Dolphins or Burden to the Texans. Those are the two landing spots that I've really fallen in love with. Like 13th overall. Obviously, the Cowboys would be great, but 13th overall, I would love. 17th to the Bengals if they don't sign T. Higgins. The Broncos, I would also really, really like. The Texans, I would be obsessed with. Obviously, the Commanders, I mean, I would be ecstatic if we could somehow find a way to trade up and get him. But
I think it's a realistic expectation. Like, I think them getting a wide receiver here could happen.
Who, the Bucks?
The Bucks, yeah, because yes, I understand they do need other things, but you gotta start moving on. This is the last year, if I'm not mistaken, of Mike Evans.
No, he just signed a long-term deal.
That was 2 years ago now, wasn't it? Should be the last year. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm tripping.
You could be right, actually.
Unless he has another year.
No, you're right. This is his last year. So you know what? That's fair. And
then Chris Godwin, is he going to resign? So technically they need wide receiver?
Yeah, you're making some good points. So
Shador, Sanders, and Cam Ward go. I'm going to take... You know what? Let's take Tyler.
And that's a great time to answer this question from JW, who says, do you think the recent success of Laporte and Bowers as first-round tight ends are driving the optimism around Warren and Loveland? And yes, I do. I think if you don't recognize that, I don't think you're being fully transparent with yourself. But yes, I think it is playing a part, but it could be setting a dangerous expectation, but it also could be letting us see the new trend in the NFL. Right, where hey, you don't need to wait 4 years to really understand the position. You can contribute straight away, and that obviously comes down to just having a very special player who knows a lot before they enter the NFL already. I'm going to take Travis Hunter. I'll take Travis Hunter off the board. In this mock, he went as the first overall pick to the Tennessee Titans. And I think he would instantly be a better version than what they have there as their number one. I mean, no disrespect to Calvin Ridley, but I think he'd instantly be better than anything they have in that wide receiver room. Outside of like Treylon Burks. But he'd be real close too.
Yeah, no, look. I've been saying this, and if you're new here and you were going to talk up Travis Hunter, my perspective is you're not going to know what he's playing, whether it's wide receiver or DB, until week one. You're just not going to know. He's not going to come into the draft and declare and saying, I'm a wide receiver, or declare it and saying, I'm a cornerback. I think you're going to see the wide receiver, cornerback tag on him the whole time, and they're going to have interviews with him saying, what are you going to do at wide receiver? We're going to do at cornerback. You're just not going to know.
And I hear where you're coming from. However, I do think we'll get more indications before we draft. For example, when the team does the interviews after the draft and they ask the question, I think we'll get some indication from the coaching staff exactly what they plan to do with him.
I just think it's going to be very vague. I think they're going to, the whole time, they're going to be like, we're going to use him on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Like, because and it's just going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to have a package for him here and there. And it's like, well, but how big is the package? Is it 120 target package, or is it a 50 target package? Because if it's a 50 target package, I don't think anyone's going to be drafting him in the first round in a rookie mock, expecting him to be the wide receiver.
Yeah, I think I can't remember who said this recently, but I was glad to finally see someone in the industry say it. Someone said they think he's a better wide receiver than cornerback, and I feel like I've been the only one who said that. But I mean, it's good to see. I don't know if it was Jeremiah or who it was exactly. I wish I could remember now, but I've felt that way for a while. I think he could, like, if he was a full-time wide receiver, he'd easily be my number one wide receiver. He'd be locked and loaded at the 102, and the 102 would be in its own tier. But obviously, we don't have that information. And
no, I mean, unless he publicly comes out and says, "I want to be a wide receiver in the NFL."
Well, I think it will depend on what the team envisions for him, because if the Titans take him at number 1 overall, they probably have more need at wide receiver with L'Jarius Sneed being there.
But he could also be the CB1, like, 1A, 1B, excuse me. Like, I feel like that could be said for the first 5 teams.
Their offense needed a lot more help than their defense last year.
Yeah.
The defense wasn't that bad in Tennessee. As Quinshon Judkins comes off the board there, that would be a very difficult situation to manage again with Quinshon. Yeah, we also had Jalen Royals and Jaden Higgins come off the board. Xavier Restrepo comes off the board here. Dylan Sampson.
Like Ayo Manor. I'm going to go first round quarterback there, Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love it. I was waiting on it. I was hoping for it. As Scattaboo comes off the board, I will take Woody Marks again. He goes to the Chiefs in round 3.
Apparently, we're not going to see Cam Scattaboo at the Senior Bowl or something.
Yeah.
Like he has to report.
Disappointing.
It is disappointing.
But, I mean, there's enough film on him. I mean, there's a ton of film on him, so.
No, but it's just good to see some of these guys, a little extra reps and extra things there, working out a little bit. I think that's what you get excited for.
Yeah.
It's just not the case. I mean, it could have rose the stock with the fact. I mean, we saw that with Roman Wilson last year.
Roman was more of a complimentary. I mean, I know he was like their leading wide receiver in Michigan, but they really ran their offense through the running backs, and I feel like he needed the Senior Bowl. I don't think Cam needs any other event now. With what he did in the college football playoffs. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think he needs another event to boost his capital anymore. I think he's done enough.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
But obviously, it would have been awesome to see him. I 100% agree with you there.
Fanning goes at the 3-1, and Isaiah Bond.
Prodigy says, is Sanders your quarterback 1 over Ward, even though Ward is likely to go ahead of Sanders? Yes. Yeah. Don't really like either of them, to be honest with you, man. But yeah. I don't see Ward going at like pick 3 and then Sanders going at like in the second round or something. Like if that happens, then of course I'll readjust based off historical hit rates. But yeah, no, I don't see a reason for that to change the opinion. As Isaiah Bond, DJ Giddens comes off the board, which is a good pick there.
Yeah, he wants to go Knoll. Jalen Knoll there at 3-3.
Great pick. Great player.
Great pick, great player. I've seen more clips of Sanders with Brian Dable and the Giants, of course.
Yeah, well, he wore the giant cleats. I've never seen a prospect do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He just looks dumb that he did that because they don't have the first overall pick. Unless he just
when he did it, they did have the first overall pick.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I knew that was dumb because they could have lost it. If he would have done that, and it's like, I'm working out in Giants cleats after, and they had a 3rd pick, sure. Like, okay. But like, the fact that he did it the week of they had the first round pick, it was like, damn, dude. Like,
yeah.
It just doesn't look good.
Prodigy says the reason that he's asking is because he has Hurts, Levis, Fields, all drafted by me. I just want to hit. I don't want another bench quarterback. I talked about this in today's video. And if you haven't watched today's video, I would definitely suggest to go do so. But let me get rid of this real quick. Where are we? Okay. So in today's video, where we talk about trade targets for every first round pick, I specifically talk about what to do if you want to draft a quarterback in a rookie draft this year. So I would definitely suggest to go watch that video, because I have a very strong conviction on, you have the 104 and you need a running back. I have a strong conviction on what I would do if I was in your position. And it wouldn't involve drafting a quarterback. So go watch that video, because I think it will be very helpful. I'll go Hunter here.
Jarquez, yeah.
Let me get Jarquez. Hold on. But yeah, and essentially, I'm looking at, again, if you want to draft a quarterback at the 104, I would much rather trade that pick for a quarterback already in the NFL.
Yeah, I get that.
As we see Quinn Ewers come off the board, Jordan James come off the board. Did Jack Besh get drafted? Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Just trying to keep up with my rankings here. By the way, Quinn Ewers, man, because when I rewatched Matthew Golden, Gunnar Helm, I don't know, man. I don't know what I can say positively about the guy. And I really think he would have made more money if he went back to college.
Well, apparently, was it him? Or no, maybe that was Carson Beck saying like he got man money to transfer.
Well, no, there was a rumor that
or was it Quinn
had a huge offer. I think he should have taken it. I just don't see someone drafting him before round 4 or 5.
The thing is, like, this quarterback class is already weak. What happens if next year's quarterback class, hypothetically, is stronger?
Yeah,
like, he's just in the same position. Like, he's not going to help his stock next year.
Yeah, I really struggle to see the scenario in which he's a starter in the NFL at any point ever.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Is that Barry and Brown? Torrey Horton, Mason Taylor come off the board. Ty Felton. What are you doing here?
Let's do your guy, Rashad Tootin.
Oh, nice. I love it. I'll grab Ricky White. Slick Ricky White. He
Ricky
got drafted to the Jags in this scenario, round 5. I actually think he'd be a really good replacement for Christian Kirk. He can definitely stretch the field for this team as well. So I like that combination there. All right, guys, that was the second mock draft. I'll just ask this. Who do you guys think is the best value in the entire draft?
Oh.
Who do you think? Who do you guys think is the best value in the entire draft? I have some names in mind.
Same.
But I want to hear from the community first.
I'll wait to see what people say.
A little bit less crazy with this one, right? Because McMillan goes at the 102. You got some quarterbacks going a little bit earlier. I know people want to draft those quarterbacks earlier right now.
Back outside, but I really want you.
All right, what did people say? Egbuka. Yeah, we didn't really talk too much about Egbuka in the draft, but he lands in the second round. And look, I understand why he fell, because first round to the Ravens is just... First off, I don't think the Ravens should do this, because they already took Zay Flowers in the first round recently, and they took Rashad Bateman in the first round as well not too long ago. But that landing spot is just rough.
I mean, to be fair, Zay Flowers did have a decent year. I guess
it was just the definition of mediocre, though.
Yeah,
for expectations for a second-year wide receiver, you know?
Yeah. No, look, I get it.
What did he averaged 12 points per game. And the issue was, in the second half of the season, he completely disappeared.
Yep.
Let me double check. Like money stretch week 8 to 18.
Because winter came, that's why. Derrick Henry was there.
That's true.
Just makes sense.
Didn't really need him. But it was like most of the time, if you started Zay Flowers, you were like, oh, I lost my week. He averaged 9 points from week 10 onwards.
Yeah, look, you weren't happy starting him, but he did better than expected from where he was going, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like people you were getting him, if I remember correctly, in startups, not dynasty startups, but just rookie in redraft leagues, what? 6th, 7th, 8th round sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so Egbuka is a very common answer here, and it makes sense, right? For sure. I hear a lot of people saying that. We've got some people saying Devin Neal, Scattaboo, Judkins, Hunter if he plays wide receiver, Ollie Gordon. So yeah, lots of opinion. Who do you think was the best value in this second mock draft?
I think I'll go.
Where did Jalen Royals even go?
Right,
Broncos. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he went to the Broncos. I did think it's Emeka in the second. I also think Jalen Milroe was my pick. First round quarterback was a really good one. I think Colson Loveland in the first round, who was going at the 112, is a pretty good value. Those are the guys that I would say. Yeah,
I can see that. And I probably wouldn't have that big of a different answer. So I like it a lot. All right, guys, that is the end of the first portion of today's stream. All right, in the first portion of today's stream, we were doing some mock drafts with you guys. That was very fun. Thanks for being a part of it. Now, in the second part of today's stream, we are going to be reviewing people's dynasty teams. All right, we'll get through as many as we possibly can. But obviously, people who have decided to prioritize us and show us some love, we want to do the same back to them and show them some love as well. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We've got a list of people today that we want to get through. For example, Travesty, Connor, Kev, and Lad's #1 fan. Ideally, we get through all 4 of those. We'll see how time permits, because we do have to prep content for you guys this upcoming week. How have you guys been liking the content, by the way? I feel like the latest video definitely popped off, which was awesome to see. But we've definitely been more intentional about less quantity, more quality in the videos this year.
Quality is good. I think it was great.
Yeah.
Watch it. Fire ass graphics.
Yeah, the graphics were absolute bangers. Hoping you guys are enjoying the content. But let's go ahead and do our damn thing, shall we? Let's get to the first team, which is Travesty19. But if you guys are out there and you want your team reviewed, it's very simple, guys. All right, there are 2 ways you can get your team reviewed. The first way is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. That's very easily the best bang for your buck. All right. Not only do you get the team playbook, which will be completely customized to your league, to your team. You know, a customized game plan for your offseason is what we like to say. What to do with your draft picks, specific trade recommendations, and it's just completely customized to your league entirely. Now, again, you get that if you become a yearly member. You get our 2025 rookie report, which version 1 is already up on the website. Version 2 is currently in the making, and we're excited to release version 2 for you guys. But you also get all the premium tools on the website, right? All the rankings, the prospect database, the My Teams, Trade Finder calculator, all those tools you get as well when you become a member. And then if you ever want to buy a team review again, you get a discount on it anyway. So again, becoming a yearly member,
it's a great deal,
is by far the best bang for your buck.
That is right.
The other option is if you just want to buy one outright and you're already a member with a different code, or you support Flock or whatever the case may be, or you don't want to become a member for whatever reason, you can buy one a la carte through the Flock store. And the link that we just put in the chat will take you to a website that looks like this. Click on Team Review. If you haven't linked up your team yet, I would suggest to do so. Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo. And if you're out there and you have an MFL league, or you don't have a league that can sync, you can send us screenshots, you can send us your league IDs, and we can do our best. Obviously, we've had a lot of MFL leagues, which we've been able to review very well because of their league ID, but it'll automatically input your settings for you if you're linked up. Then all you need to do is select your team. Make sure your rookie picks are correct. If not, change it up. And then you will see Zach and Badaki from Fantasyland. The baseline is an offline review. All right, some people prefer that because they don't want their league to see the review. But if you want to get yours live streamed, all it is just $10 extra to prioritize your review. And that's what a lot of people have done on today's stream. All right, we have a super chat. We'll get to that, and then we'll get straight into Travis C's team review. He says, I have picks 107 and 109 thoughts in a one quarterback league. In a one quarterback league...
How you doing?
Right now, that's probably like Egbuka, Judkins, Henderson, Johnson, Uphampton range. Maybe Hunter if he falls. But it's pretty early to give you a really good answer on that without knowing draft capital and stuff.
Yeah, I would agree.
Also wouldn't be opposed to trading it for a player already in the NFL. If you want to watch today's video, we go through that in depth as well. But yeah.
We appreciate you, Latino man. I hope everything is good. Latino Heat.
I think in April I'll have an even better answer for you, Latino. But yeah, you're in a great spot, man. That's a good amount of picks to have. Ferrari says you guys visuals / graphics are A1. Most other channels skip this very key detail, which you'd love to see it. That's what Badaki's doing on the back end, really making sure we give you the best product possible. And I appreciate that, JW. Very kind of you.
Love. All
right. Shall we get to this first team review?
Yeah, Travesty 19. I hope if you are here, let us know. If not, if you watch this back, appreciate the support. Thank you so much for everything. Let's have a look at this details here in this context. Looking for advice on this team full of older players and good picks this class. I like to make a lot of trades, and maybe I made a few too many. Hoping for a fast turnaround. This is a 0.5 tight end premium league, super flex with 2 spot kicker and defense. Okay, so you can roster 2 kickers and 2 defenses. Okay, cool.
And good news, it's showing tight end premium on the graphic.
It is showing tight end premium. So shout out to our developers, which is awesome.
It's a 10-team start 8, and it's super flex. That is the smallest possible lineup, and I'm assuming that's not including the kicker and defense, right? But that is the smallest possible lineup you can have in a super flex league. So this is an all heavy hitters starting lineup. Depth does not matter as much. And we'll keep that in mind as we go through and watch this. Travesty 19, his team name is
Travesty 19.
Yeah, and he's ranked last right now.
Yeah, he's ranked last. 10 out of 10. This is a 10-man league. And let's have a look at this team here, which makes me believe that this could be a full rebuild, just depending. But you did say you had older players, but let's have a look. 2 quarterback league, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. Not the best quarterback room, but you do have quarterbacks to compete, obviously. At the running back position, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, James Conner, Travis Etienne, the list goes on. Remember, keep in mind, we want heavy hitters. We want the top 5 players in each position, essentially. And for competing teams, Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon are great. Same thing with James Conner, but for futuristic, doesn't feel like the one that these players that you want to have. At the wide receiver position, keep in mind you can really only start up to 3 wide receivers: Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman, Deebo Samuel, and the list just goes on there. This is a weak wide receiver room for a 7.
Really bad.
Start 7. Even if it was start 8, this is a weak wide receiver room. And then with the tight end position with David Njoku and Hunter Henry. So there's no one of the future on this team besides, I would throw Brandon Ayuk in that conversation. I would throw Trevor Lawrence in that conversation. Everyone else is older and could potentially be moved in a league like this or in a team like this.
Do you want to know the bad news?
Bad news, I'm assuming he doesn't have a 26 first.
Doesn't have any of his future first picks. Any of his future picks. At least not in 26. So the bad news is, even if we did want to full rebuild this and sell off vets, it would make no sense. Because we have no access to our own draft capital. So with that in mind, this is the definition of a Windows open pathway, which let's put the pathways up here. This is a definition of Windows open. You got a bunch of veterans. You have a very small window. Ideally, you maximize it. I'm not really loving this roster in Dynasty, to be honest. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of one of our best friends' rosters in one of our home league. Shout out to Luke Rogers. Shout out to Jordan Westfield. This reminds me of their roster because when they drafted all veterans, and then they competed for a couple of years, and then they quit the league. I love you guys, but that was really frustrating. So, Travesty, don't do that to this league. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's just not, this roster's not in a good spot at all whatsoever, especially for it to be a 10-team league. If this is a 12-team league, you could look at it and you could say, okay, Dak and Trevor, we can make this work. You know, at least you have Ayuk, but in a 12-team league, I mean, let's have a look at some of the other teams that he's probably competing against, shall we? For example, this team has Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Achane, Kyron, London, Wilson, McBride, Tyreek Hill. What? This team has May, Herbert, Murray, Jacobs, Chase, Pickens, Pitts, so not as bad. This guy has Nix, Caleb, Brees, Chuba, Jefferson, Lamb, Rice. It's just, you look at these teams, yours is easily the worst positioned team for the future. Not even close. However, again, we don't have our own picks. Who has Travesty's first round picks in the futures? So Grumpy has your second.
Ash has his first. The second dude.
Yeah.
Which,
look,
I don't think it's out of the mix to get our first back with the players that we have.
Maybe.
I think maybe you can get a first with Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. Maybe you get Derrick Henry and something else. One of these lower tier wide receivers, like Derrick Henry and Calvin Ridley. Send it all to get your first back. Then we're rebuilding. Obviously, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 first round picks in 25. Hypothetically.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from.
That could be a pathway because he does have assets that people might want. And not saying this guy's running back room is weak, but I know you're probably having concerns of Kyron Williams and what that's going to look like with Blake Corum going into his second year.
Why are we talking about Kyron Williams?
Well, because of the team that has his first round pick.
Oh, okay.
Like if we're trying to get our first round pick back,
right?
That's the type of conversations we have there.
The issue with trying to get your pick back is, number one, it's going to indicate to that guy that you want to rebuild and it's going to cost a lot. Number two, look at all the other players you would have to sell, and everybody knows you're selling. So you make that trade, you get your first round pick. Now you have to find a Devontae Adams buyer. You have to find a James Conner buyer. You have to find a Geno Smith buyer. Someone to buy Dak.
Yeah.
And you're doing all this at a discount because everyone knows you don't want these players. So, to me, I think this is Windows open.
Yeah, we have windows open. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Just giving him all pathways. Like, if you really wanted to go full rebuild, it's going to be hard, like Zach is saying. But I do believe it's possible because we have seen Derrick Henry go for first. We have seen Joe Mixon maybe more for 2 seconds, essentially. But you have to do a package to get that first back. Because you don't really have any young player. The youngest player you have in your team is probably Trevor Lawrence. Outside of the rookies of last year that are established, quote-unquote, veterans, is most likely Trevor Lawrence on this team.
Yeah. If we were to give his draft capital a grade, it's a tricky one because he doesn't have any picks in 26, but he has 4 firsts in 25, which is great. It's not a class that we're obsessed with, unfortunately. But, I mean, if you had those picks in 2024, I think we would be speaking very differently about this team. But, so I got to put it at like a B+ grade for the draft capital alone because, again, we have no way to control our future right now. But overall team grade, again, this is who we're starting probably. Dak, Trevor, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Ayuk, Adams maybe, Njoku, and then we flex Connor or Debo or Adams. So because it's such a small starting lineup, it's a pretty good starting lineup for right now. It's just so many of these things could fall apart in an instant. Sam Darnold could go to the, I don't know, Raiders
kinda,
and be dog shit. Geno
he
Smith could
started
get
this year.
replaced. Derrick Henry could be falling off a cliff at some point. Joe Mixon could go down with an injury and be replaced by Trey Benson. Or James Conner, sorry, is what I meant to say. You know, Michael Pittman, maybe they draft another wide receiver. Maybe Adonai Mitchell steps up. Deebo Samuel is clearly not the same player. Devontae Adams, where does he sign? So a lot of things could go the wrong way. But overall team grade, I'm going to put this like C+.
Okay.
What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's generous.
Okay.
Because when I say generous, it's not that not crazy. Like I was thinking more C-, because there is still a lot of pathways. Like, where's Debo gonna be? What the hell's Michael Pittman gonna look like with AR-15? What's the timeline on Brandon Ayuk? Where's Devontae Adams gonna go? Like, right there, your wide receiver room is blown up already, just by me just saying that before the season started. Now, that's with everything not going your way, right? So maybe we'll meet in the middle, just a C flat.
Okay, we'll go C flat. All right. Well, the good news is you have a good amount of draft capital.
Yeah.
And obviously,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I just don't think there's any like untouchables on this team.
No, there is no untouchable.
Like literally none. I am going to put your 27 first round picks on the graphic when you are watching this.
If you have them.
Yeah, if you have them. And if you don't have your 27 first round picks, then just know that you have no untouchables. Everyone should be up for grabs in your league or in your team, on your team.
As far as holds, there's some pretty strong holds here, like Etienne after the signing of Ben Johnson, I think, or Liam Cohen. That could be big for him. I would say Jalen Coker's a strong hold. De'Ami Brown is an interesting hold after his postseason. And then Trevor Lawrence is definitely not worth selling at this point, so he's a hold. You could probably drop if you needed to. You could drop Tyler Higbee if you needed the space. You could drop Andre Yeshivas if you needed the space.
Of course,
Sincere McCormick is probably the better drop.
Yeah, probably just so too. Sincere McCormick and Tyler Higbee are probably the best ones.
All right, if you were to stick and pick, Ashton Genty is the 101. All right, I wouldn't consider anyone else. And even though your running back room is already very established, I just think there's no future to it right now. And you can still flex these names. So, for example, you're still going to play Ayuk and Adams as your starting wide receivers. But now you can flex Genty, or you can flex Mixon or Henry or whoever you want to. At the 104, I mean, there's a huge list of names, like we always say. McMillan is there, Burden is there, your Hamptons of the world, your Caleb Johnsons of the world, your Travion Hendersons of the world. You're kind of in this range. What's our tight end look like? I'm trying to remember.
David Njoku. So I think tight ends definitely could be in play here. The Coastal Lovelands, Tyler Warren's here at the 107, maybe 110. Because this is a tight end premium, only 0.5. I personally don't put too much weight on a 0.5 tight end premium league. I don't think it makes a big of a difference.
Yeah.
But if they are going to be pushed up the board a little bit, then maybe some other players are going to be pushed down, which can give you some good opportunity there at the 107 and 110.
Yeah. Now, I'm not really opposed to trading away the 101.
Agreed.
With this league.
Agreed.
And we talked about some of the potential offers on today's video. Let me see if I can bring up today's video and we can have a look at some of the names. I think if I were to trade away the 101, let me know what you think, but probably going to target a wide receiver.
I agree. Wide receiver, long term. I think the first thing that came to mind was the Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, so this is the 101 from today's video. I don't think Neighbors is realistic, personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas, and Nico Collins are options.
Yeah.
Depending, like, there will be some people, who all last year were like, you can't have Puka that high because Matthew Stafford or Cooper Kupp or whatever, right? So there could still be people out there like that. Brian Thomas is an option. And then we also said Nico Collins, but you would get a plus on Nico Collins. So we can explore those options. I don't think there's another wide receiver that really makes sense because, again, I don't think Neighbors is possible there.
Sure.
I guess you could talk about Brock Bowers and the tight end premium, but the guy who has Brock Bowers probably isn't selling him for this either. But in a start 8, I mean, I will just put it out there because I would probably send away the 101 for Brock Bowers in a heartbeat at the 108 at a 10-team start 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
okay.
These are kind of your options. You do need a plus on Nico if you're going to make that deal. Otherwise, these guys you could trade straight up for the 101. Shall we look at the Nico Collins owner in this league?
Yeah, Captain Kirk, the guy, the first one. He has Nico Collins. He also has the 103.
The issue is he doesn't need running back, so this is probably not going to work.
Yeah, it's going to be a Gibbs and Bijan. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like a Nico... I would try like a Nico Bucky and you give them back Mixon. Does that make sense? The 101 plus Joe Mixon for Nico and Bucky. Again, I really don't think they're going to do it because they need wide receiver, but it's worth exploring. Who has Brian Thomas on this team, on this league? All right, this might be doable. They need running back. I mean, could you do like Brian Thomas and Sutton? Send back Juwan Jennings or something?
Brian Thomas, Sutton, yeah.
That could be interesting.
Could be.
And then as far as the Bowers deal go, again, if you get him for the 101 in a tight end premium in such a small starting lineup, you would be very, very lucky. I don't know that I would really do anything else with that pick.
I was going to say, like, yeah, you're getting either top wide receiver or you're probably just holding it. Once again, I say this for all 101 owners. If you can't get the deal that you want before the NFL draft or before the combine, just wait until after because that value is going to rise once the NFL draft hits. Once Ashton Genty has a team logo stamped to his name, people are going to want that pick. So just hold on. And I think, maximizing the value for the 104, 107, 110, those are the sweet spots that we're trying to trade back into. So you already are in those prime positions to get it, at least in my perspective, unless you have a different idea for the 104, 107.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of prefer trading the 101 and then, like you said, using the 104 to the 110 to get a running back and or trade it away. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or like the other option, by the way, is trade it away for a haul. But would you really want to do that in a such a small league with such a small starting lineup? I actually don't know that I would.
I wouldn't want to do a haul.
I think we need to we need to stick and pick.
You need to have an elite player.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
the 101.
I'm glad we talked that through. At the 104, we'll talk about trading for a vet, right? So let's say you did go Genty, and at the 104, we need to go buy a wide receiver. Well, actually, let's refer to today's video. I doubt at the 104 you can get. This is the 103 I'm looking at right now, but like your lad Marvin, JSN, AJ Brown, I don't think that's possible. But again, that's kind of like the 103 range. And then I said Rashee Rice, but I don't think he works for your team because you need to compete right away.
Yeah.
So shall we look at those names? And then when I extended the video to the 104 to the 107, we were looking at some of the same names, but also like the T. Higgins, Garrett Wilsons of the world.
Yep. I'm happy with that.
So shall we look at the teams that own those players?
Yeah, so Ladd McConkey on Philly Hot Turner. Or just Philly. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Philly Hot Runner.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Tight.
He has Ladd McConkey and...
Could you do a Ladd CMC for the 104 and Mixon?
Sure. You know how I feel about CMC, but I think that's okay.
Would you rather have Mixon than CMC in Dynasty?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. Just because I'm just worried about all those injuries now. He's older. I don't think he's going to be the same personally. But yes, I'm happy to put this here.
Okay, that's just a little difference of opinion we have, which is fine. Brown, AJ.
Low key V has AJ Brown.
AJ and one of those running backs to get younger might actually be really ideal. So like either Ken Walker or James Cook, and then we would send back the 104 plus. I mean,
something.
Mixon plus something, I think, on our end. For example, would you send back one of these quarterbacks? Does that guy need quarterback? What was his team name again?
Lamar. Loki has Lamar to a Deshaun.
Yeah, so let's give him a quarterback 3. Let's give him Geno as a starting offer. Again, that can be Ken Walker or James Cook. The or is crucial there. Whoever has Marvin, I mean, if you get Marvin straight up, it's you should feel very happy about that. And could you manage Marvin and Tyrone and send back Connor?
Love it. Because you gotta call on someone.
I would do it straight up, by the way, if you needed to. JSN owner.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Mayhem with also Brian Thomas.
Yeah, right. I mean,
unless you swap, like you could do like Jackson Smith, Michael Penix, and swap quarterbacks or something.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd be willing to do, but I agree with you. Like, I'd love to try it as an offer. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you add? You'd have to add Dak probably.
Yeah.
Or Trevor Lawrence. Who has T. Higgins? I feel like we've already seen the same guy.
He also has Jackson, the same guy. So.
Would you do the same deal?
Yeah, I'll try it.
And then last one is Garrett Wilson.
That's Garrett Wilson. Ash has Garrett Wilson.
So could you do Garrett, and could you find your way into McBride here? Like, for example, the 104 plus something. We want Garrett Wilson and Trey McBride, so we're going to offer you the 104. We're also going to offer you David Njoku. We're also going to offer you... what other picks does he have?
107.
We'll offer you the 107 as well.
I think that might be that's definitely my favorite, because I mean, if you go based off the video you reference, 104, 107, Trey McBride is still within that range. So is Garrett Wilson.
If the right package is there, yeah.
Yeah.
And let's say he doesn't like this, but you could convince him if you added on, you added on to your side. You gave him Ridley. You gave him ETN. You made a pick swap where you took the 301. I don't know.
Makes sense.
You could find a wiggle room there, I think, to make that work.
Yeah.
And then like the 107 range, the difficult part is like at the 107, again, because of how... I mean, would you go Dunze after the news? I probably would easily do that, but I'm not sure that's possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's possible either.
It's probably going to have to pay more than that at this point. This video was recorded right before they signed, unfortunately, Ben Johnson. Like Devonta Smith, I'm not even sure I would want, not to be disrespectful to him, but just to say, like, in a smaller league, is he really winning me a championship? You know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'd rather grab a T. Higgins.
Maybe we'll just hold on the 107, see what falls to us.
Yeah.
Still get a younger piece here, because if you do trade the 101, 104, 107, could still be a really high valuable player. As you know, we just saw Tet fall to the 109 in our draft, even though it was a bad landing spot.
Yeah.
You know, Travion Henderson can go there. Caleb,
I think
so.
One thing that comes to mind for the 110 is like your DJ Moores of the world, right? Like that would be.
My audio staticky, by the way.
Sorry.
Yeah, my audio staticky.
Interesting. All right, have a listen.
Thing.
Is it still staticky now? Well, you're gonna have to talk.
Hello. Is my voice still staticky? Nah, not anymore. I heard it for a quick second.
Okay.
Like I heard it, and then I don't know what you did. Maybe it was me.
No, that's fine. I went ahead and changed a couple things on my end. DJ Moore, I really like for the 110 for this team. I think it makes a ton of sense. He's in that younger range that you can build around. I would also say like a young running back. You've already got running backs. You just don't need help there, man. You got to use it on a wide receiver. I think DJ Moore is ideal. Yeah. I think that's kind of where I would take this team. Again, windows open. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You gotta. I'll say this for all. I think we've been maybe a little disheartening. This team has a good chance to make the playoffs, especially if you make these. You know what I mean? Especially if you make these picks and the picks hit, or you get a Puka Nacua, you get a Brian Thomas. Like you have you'll probably make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so as well. If they hit last year, I mean, obviously your quarterbacks. Well, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith kind of helped you a little bit. Derek Joe Mixon helped you, but your wide receivers is what went to shambles there. Ayuk got hurt. Pittman was non-existent. Debo, who?
Yeah.
You know.
Debo was rough, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
But yeah. And
I
then
appreciate you, man.
If you have your 27 picks, I would definitely hold on to them, man. And if it doesn't work out this year, we need to think about hitting a reset button next year. But we can give it one more push, and ideally we get these younger players. That's why all these deals that we talked about, young player, young player, young player, young players, except for CMC. But for the most part, you're getting young players still. We talked about the Njoku trade. I really love that one. I know you did too.
Yeah.
What else do you want to highlight here? I love the Nico Collins, Bucky Irving trade.
Yeah, I don't mind the 104. Maybe the AJ Brown, Kenneth Walker. This one.
Yeah.
Give us a variety there.
And then maybe we highlight Bowers as well.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm happy with that.
Actually, we've highlighted a lot of the 101. Let's highlight DJ Moore because DJ is a good target for him.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
But yeah, that's. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we appreciate you. And you'll be receiving your team playbook.
Yeah.
48 to 72 hours, all customized with all the information that we did break down today.
Yeah.
On the Block Fantasy message system. But yeah, I mean, look, maybe we were a little bit discouraging, a little bit negative. You can't compete, but I think you just have to be also realistic to be like, all right, when do I need to rebuild? And since you don't have your first in 26, probably not the right time to rebuild. Yeah. But you're still there.
I would say that if he did have his first, you and I might have pushed him towards a rebuild. Yeah.
Yeah, no question.
But anyway, yeah, appreciate you, Travesty. Again, Like Badaki already said, your team playbook will be customized about everything we talked about today. It will be sent to you within 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy little message tab when you submit your review there. But again, if anybody's out there watching and they want their team reviewed, very simple. You can either become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND, which is easily the best bang for your buck. You get the rookie report, you get our team review, all the premium tools on the website. Or if you would like to purchase one a la carte because you're supporting a different creator on the site, or you just don't want to become a member, you can get one through the Flock store as well. But again, just make sure you choose the live tier if you want a live review. Yeah. Cool. Let's go on to Connor now.
Connor, let us know if you're still here with us. If not, that is okay. Connor's next. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to be breaking down your team. Looks like this is a 2-quarterback, 12-team start 10. So this is a middle ground, meaning you can start up to 5 wide receivers. And Connor is here with us. Okay, that's awesome. And just let us know if there's anything that's wrong, or wrong rookie picks or whatever. I'm seeing this is a tight end premium. Is that true? And if it is, what is the premium? Because it just says tight end premium. Anyways, I'll read this context. Is this a team review? Yes.
You got it.
If so, a note I have with my team is that it's nearly impossible to move Tua for anything other than the 203. If it is not, how do okay? That's it. So
no,
that is the context.
You did the right thing there. His team name is Dr. Genty.
Yeah, and this is tight end premium 1.5. I wonder if we can get what the premium next to it.
Yeah.
The number, because
at this point I'm just glad we have a premium. But you're right, it would be good to have that. You can write a note about that if you want while I look at his team, but he's ranked 5th. The good news, Badaki, is if you look from 1 to 5, even all the way down to 7, there really isn't that big of a difference between the grades on these teams. There's no clear Thanos. No one has dominated this league and took advantage of a bunch of people. So you're right in there like swimwear. Dr. Genty, team number 5. It's, like you said, middle ground starting lineup. All right, so May, Caleb, McCarthy, Tua. We'll talk about Tua. Quite frankly, it is the worst time to sell him. So, yeah. At the running back spot, there's nobody. And you probably know that. At the wide receiver spot, you've got Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison, Keon, Coker. Got some names there, and then Hawkinson. Now, the good news is we have a good amount of draft. Well, we have an impact pick at the 101, and we have another first and 26. That is the good news here for this team. So we can definitely make some noise, and Genty is a good fit for this team. The issue is you need another running back to really go out and make some noise outside of Genty. But I have a couple ideas that have come to mind here, and we will talk this through. I'm just putting your draft capital in here. Again, the 101, the 204, the 301, and the 401. Okay, so first off, he's got the first of Little Petey Quill, which is currently ranked 11. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's probably going to be a good pick. Running back room is ready to fall apart. There's no wide receivers worth note. I guess worthy. Yeah, that's definitely a pick. Can we go ahead and say that's an untouchable? The 2026 first round pick of Little Petey Quill.
2026 first round pick.
Yeah.
Little Petey Pablo. Okay.
Do we have the right name here, Connor? Because you said Beans is 26 first, but I see Little Petey Quill. Let me know if I'm reading that wrong. Brian Thomas is untouchable for me. And that pick, if that's correct. I will be holding, honestly, a lot of players. Like, I think almost all your quarterbacks are a hold. Like Tua is a hold.
We could put 4.
McCarthy's a hold. Caleb is a hold. And Jalen Coker are all really strong holds, as well as Ben Sinnott. If you want to add some variety, it doesn't have to be all the quarterbacks. You can easily drop Eric Gray. Very easily. You can drop Jalen Naylor. You can drop Jamari Thrash. if you need to make way.
Jamari Thrash. So, and you said Tua, JJ, Jalen Coker,
and Ben
who
Simmons.
was the other one? Okay, Ben Simmons. Okay.
He says that's the right team. Okay, yeah. He says on the same page, not in a rush to move a quarterback, which is good to see. He says I just traded the 107 for Caleb somehow. That's awesome. That's a huge win.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah, especially in a 12-team start 10. I think that's a great trade for you. Okay, so draft capital grade. I'm going to put you around, you have that extra first, you have the 101. It's probably A flat, A minus maybe. Overall team grade, if you think about it, you're probably starting Drake and Tua, but maybe some of those other guys step up. No running backs. Then Brian, Marvin, TJ, and then you still would need to find 3 flexes, which you already don't have running backs to start. And those flexes might be Coleman or Coker. To be honest, you're very top heavy, honestly. Like this, I actually don't think this team is ready to compete this year.
Yeah, especially with it being a, start 5 wide receiver. You really have 2 wide receivers we're comfortable starting with, 1 high upside play. I guess Keon Coleman, we can be excited for. And no running back there.
It is the right pick from PD Quill. That's great. Yeah. Full transparency, I really don't think you have a shot to win this year, even if Genty hits. Because, again, we were talking about flexing wide receivers, Badaki, but he doesn't even have a starting running back outside of Genty. So,
yeah.
I think this is a 1-year punt. Because we're not a full rebuild. We have so many good pieces already. But I think this is a 1-year punt. And, man, I'd really love to... Yeah, I mean... Because originally my idea was going to be to take one of these quarterbacks, trade it for a running back, and then have that running back paired with Genty. But the issue is that none of those quarterbacks I would sell right now. So I really think this is a true 1-year punt. And you could have the 101 and 26 with that guy's first round pick anyway. Everything is about maximizing your window next year. So it means if you trade the 101 for the 103 and 2 future firsts, or whatever you do, it's all about how can I use the 2026 offseason to completely dominate. So yeah, I think that's the direction I would probably take this team in. Now look, of course, if you have the 101 and you're going to stick and pick, I think we all know you're going to go Ashton Genty, right? Now, the 204 gets a little bit more up in the air. I'm pretty sure we had a team recently with the 204. Let me double check what I told them, because it's the same range right now for these early seconds. Yeah, so you're in like this running back range of the Giddens, Neal, Smith, Sampson, Scattaboo, Marks, Golden, Royals. That's really that range for like an early to mid 2nd round pick, I'd say. And then at the 301, it really is, again, true BPA. Way too early to give you a good answer on exactly what I would use the pick on. Not even, just draft capital is going to be so important to really determine those sleepers. I think regardless, I'm probably trying to hit on a running back with that 2nd round pick. But at the 101, if you can trade back for a haul, I would be willing to look at that, given our current goal, which is a 1-year punt. But I also think in 1 year, you're going to wish you have an Ashton Genty. So you don't really need to do this, But, for example, on today's video, I know I keep referencing it, but it's kind of important to what we're talking about. This is an unrealistic trade, and someone was upset that I showed it, but it just shows like the range of outcome in certain leagues. If you can get a haul like that, these hauls would be very difficult not to accept. So that's the kind of haul that you're looking for. For example, a Bucky plus, type of deal, it would be really interesting to me. Like a Bucky. Would you do like Bucky? Wow, this guy has no picks. I was going to try and use some of his picks, but he doesn't have any.
Yeah.
So that probably doesn't work because I was going to say like Bucky plus a first or something. But that guy doesn't have any picks. I'm trying to think of a young player. Okay, like Marvin. Marvin's a great idea here. He already has Marvin. Yeah, he already has Marvin. There's no real running backs that are young that I love outside of Bucky right now that I want to do a 1-year punt with.
Yeah.
Let's just think about it from a different perspective. Like someone this guy has the 106, for example, right? I mean, could you do the 106 Wilson, like in that range? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I would want even more. I just don't think they'd be willing to pay it.
I just don't know what more specifically on this team you can get in a futuristic, unless you get DJ Moore. Doesn't feel like enough. Maybe it does.
No, it really doesn't work.
Unless you get a first-round pick from them, another one.
Yeah, plus a future first, and then you can give them your 204.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be a haul, and if someone's not willing, then that's fair enough. But we're not selling. You know, and that's unrealistic. You can't expect this return. If that's the way people think, then don't sell the pick. Wait till he's valued like Gibbs and Bijan are.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just gonna quickly have a look through. Like, what about Olave, the 103? You know where, like, the Olave, the 103, and
first,
26 first
26
round pick.
first. Yeah, I want 26 first. You also have Star Lords. What Star Lords? Do you want Star Lords 25th? That seems competing. Actually, no, he has a terrible QB too.
Would you send away the 101 for? I was gonna say for a wide receiver straight up like Puka, but we don't really have like a specific need.
I'll do it for Malik, but I get what you're saying. Maybe not possible. We'll do it for the Brock Bowers, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
A lot. Maybe honestly, I would say like the 101, my 204 for Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers. If those and this guy needs running back. He has Chuba, Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, Jonathan Brooks. The guy that has Malik Neighbors specifically.
Yeah, but he has the 108. If I have that team, I'm thinking I'll just take Judkins at the 108 or some running back that has good draft capital. I'm not going to lose Neighbors.
I understand. Or you can sell him a quarterback, even though I know he's saying quarterbacks aren't valuable in this league.
I kind of think this guy needs to stick and pick. There's not a real like deal that I'm obsessed with right now that we're looking at.
I think if the haul comes to you, Connor, that's kind of what you want. You want the haul to come to you. You want somebody to come in and say, hey, I'll give you 3 first-round picks in a player or two first-round picks in a player. I think that will be ideal here. Yeah. And especially if these guys, like Tua, probably be tradable hypothetically if Luther Burden goes there. People are like, oh, Tyreek's gone, maybe Luther Burden, or Tyreek staying and then Luther Burden. Yeah. They get another weapon. Like all these guys' value will and are going to change whether they have injury histories or not. So maybe it is best to stick and pick and just wait into the season.
If you can sell Hawkinson for like the one, because it's a tight end premium, like from the 106 to the 109, and go ahead and get like a Colson Loveland, I don't mind that for the 1-year punt idea. Yeah. I think Hawkinson's reached his peak of value, so he's not going to get more valuable than this. Whereas you never know if one of those guys has a really good rookie season. I mean, who knows what you could be sitting on. But there's really no one worth selling outside of that. I mean, like 1-year punt, we're not going to sell. I mean, first off, Jalen Polk's worth nothing. Dobbs is impossible to move. We want to hold Coker. None of your running backs are worth talking about. There's just nothing else worth selling here.
No, I would just keep everyone here. And once again, you sell your quarterbacks in season.
I think we want to sell your quarterbacks next year. I like if Tua, I'll say this, like in season, This is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me know if this makes sense, Connor. But basically, Tua tags in season, sell him for any first round pick. Let's say he starts the year and Tyreek's there and Waddle's there, and he has 3 30-point games in the first 5 weeks. Sell him for any first, or what you could do is sell him for a running back equivalent. Who is next year's Bucky Irving at the midpoint of the season? Can you go trade for them? And then, you filling that hole, but you're still thinking towards 2026 with this 1-year punt. But again, you want to do that in season. Or can you trade Tua tags for, this year's Roma Dunze, right? So those are the type of things I think you need to think about in season, but I don't think it's possible right now. It's not a good time to sell him. But he did sign the long-term contract. He's going to be there for a while. Yeah. Would you do Tua for Royals at the draft if he landed in a competent spot? I mean, look, if Royals is a first-round pick, sure. But
I think
you got a guy who's in a Superflex league, 12-team league, long-term guaranteed contract. I would find it difficult to say that right now.
It sounds like people are scared of Tua's injury. I think you are going to sell Tua. Even, let's just say Tua comes out, doesn't miss a game, and he finishes top 10 quarterback. It still sounds like you're going to have a hard time selling him. And then I'm just going to keep him. I'm going to keep him until somebody gets injured, until Jordan Love gets injured, until Jaden Daniels or Lamar Jackson, and they miss 8 games and they need a quarterback.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. Like, what the other scenario here, Dr. Genty or Connor, is that if Tua's a reliable quarterback too, like he kind of has been, then if J.J. McCarthy or Caleb Williams just become this huge sell opportunity, you can keep Drake May and one of McCarthy or Williams with Tua and sell either a Williams or a McCarthy for an impact running back or wide receiver. Like, if it came to that point and Tua doesn't recover his value, but he's still being a reliable quarterback too, that's the route you could take as well. But again, it's all hearsay as of right now. But overall, I mean, I like this team. I wish, given the lack of depth, that you had more future picks, but at least you have one more in 26. And at least you have a good amount of quarterbacks that you can kind of play around with in the future. So yeah, overall, I like this team a lot. It's just, it's not your time right now.
Yeah. I would say it's just best to hold, best to wait. Those scenarios will come up to somebody where they miss a quarterback.
Yeah.
There's some guys here that don't have like a really, like this guy has Kyler Murray, Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Well, his team is not even that great, like Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields. This guy maybe he has no picks. They're struggling in some of these scenarios here. But we appreciate you. Let us know if you have any other questions, Connor. But if there's no other questions, I'll give you the spiel. You'll be getting this within 48 to 72 hours, a digital customized playbook catered to your team with all information that you see here on the chalkboard is going to be sent to you. Once again, 48 to 72 hours within the Flock Fantasy message system. All customized to your team. So we appreciate you and the support. Once again, let us know if you have any last minute questions. But thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. And again, yeah, if you have any questions, let us know, because we want to make sure you get all the answers to all your questions while you're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He says, love it, boys. I'll be back next year with the team. I love to see it. I can't wait to see where this team is next year. Excited to see it, man. And honestly, like the 101, like if you get some ridiculous haul, it could really accelerate this thing. Like, for example, if he gets like the 104 and 2 future firsts and he takes Hampton, and then anything can happen.
Yeah.
Someone offers you JT and 2 future firsts, or one of them is in this draft, and you get Hampton and JT, and then it's possible. But I think 1 year punt is the best outcome for this team.
Agreed.
All right, let's do Kevin next. Kevin 20. Is Kevin 20 with us?
Kevin 20.
Is Kevin in the building? No context, by the way. Do you have... He says, this was a startup in 24. Most of the people who play mainly only do redraft leagues. Not a ton of trading was done during the startup. All right. It is a 12-team start 8-1 quarterback.
So this is meat and potatoes.
Yeah. So small starting lineup, only 2 flexes. It's kind of your blue collar have a lineup, simple, which is fine. Just gotta understand that your starting lineup is very important. Depth is not as important in this type of league. And his name is Kevin.
Yeah.
His team name must be different. His team name is
Blake. You let me know.
Yeah, you're right. Blake. You're right. Blake 1035. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah. Really quick before we move on, Connor, I didn't see a overall team grade. What was that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think Connor's probably, I think like a B flat right now.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. I was putting that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. All right, the last thing I need from Connor. But I appreciate you, Kev and Connor. We'll have a look at Kev's team here.
The good news is that there's no like real dominant guy. You're one of the top 3, but
yeah, exactly. So let's have a look at this team here. One quarterback, meat and potatoes here. Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, JJ McCarthy, phenomenal quarterback room. At the running back position, Isaiah Pacheco, Isaac Carendo, and no one else. Not the best. And at the wide receiver position, Jamar Chase, Richie Rich, Lab McConkey, Jalen McMillan, and the list goes on. So you can start it to 4 wide receivers. You probably could get another wide receiver depending on what happens with Jalen McMillan. And then at the tight end position, not the strongest, but still have a young tight end and Benson it with Jake Ferguson there and the 25-11 and your 26 first round pick as well.
Yeah. So I really like this team outside the running back room. I wonder what Joe Burrow's value is in a start 8. It might be a little bit more than like a start 10 one quarterback. I think you can definitely sell a Burrow in this scenario. Or as much as I love Jaden, if Jaden got me some ridiculous haul, I wouldn't be opposed to it in a one quarterback and rocking with Joe Burrow. But if we can use one of those guys to improve the running back room, I think that would be honestly kind of pivotal. Not a lot to work with draft capital wise. I mean, we do have, 3 picks. I wouldn't say any of them are necessarily like guaranteed impact picks.
I think the 202 could be impactful in the sense of, let's just say he doesn't go running back and you trade Burrow for a running back. You draft the running back at the 202 and not at the 111, and then get tight end because he needs tight end as well. So I think it just depends on the perspective.
I guess when I say impact, I mean like you can do a lot with it. It's very tradable. And
sure, that makes sense.
It could change your team entirely. But okay. I'm struggling to think of a pathway for this team right now.
I think this pathway is sleeper.
I just see a very realistic scenario in which you have no starting running back next year. Because if Pacheco's replaced and you aren't able to trade for a running back,
well, that's why I think it's sleeper, because he's a couple moves out. I don't think it's a 1-year punt.
Let's think through the starting lineup. Right now it's Jaden Daniels, maybe Pacheco. That's pretty much it. Then Chase, Rice. So Daniels, Pacheco, someone else, I guess. Chase, Rice, Jake Ferguson, and then we have 2 more in McConkey, and hopefully McMillan keeps his role. I think the starting lineup's a little worse than we're giving it credit for at the moment.
Maybe I'm thinking of the moves that we could make, because if everything does go right, like if Jalen McMillan is in wide receiver 2, Rice comes back, they don't draft Pacheco, or they don't draft the running back for Pacheco, that's okay, because we're going to sell either Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels, get another premium running back. We're going to draft the tight end at the 111.
Pacheco has no long-term contract though, right? This is last year.
Oh, was last year? I think he had 1 more. If that's the case, sure, then that makes sense.
Oh, you're right. He has 1 more year in 25. But man, I just think they're going to draft someone. I really don't think we should be relying on Pacheco. Like if he works out, I think it's just a fun bonus. We're like, oh wow, okay, I got through this.
Sure, that makes sense. So then we're doing 1 year punt then.
I don't know what we're doing. That's what I'm trying to figure it. That's why I'm like, I don't know the answer
that's
right now.
that's what I'm saying. Like I think if the right moves are made, he could be in the mix, which makes me believe he could be a sleeper.
Yeah.
He is a 1 year punt in the pathway that you're saying. If it, like with the other side of the pathway, if everything goes worst case scenario, they drafted the wide receiver, they re-signed Chris Godwin with Jalen McMillan, Rashee Rice is suspended 5 games, and he probably doesn't come back until week 8. Jake Ferguson means nothing. Isaiah Pacheco means nothing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I understand that perspective. That's why I think it just...
Well, if we're able to sell... Let's just talk through this, because it's probably either a sleeper or a 1 year punt. Untouchables are Jamar Chase. And I guess you can put Jaden Daniels, but in a 1 quarterback league, I'm not so opposed when you're watching this. As far as holds, I think McMillan's a strong hold. Isaac Horrendo is a strong hold. JJ McCarthy, and Ben Sinnott. If you need to drop someone, I think you can drop Kamani Vidal at this point, and you could probably drop Yeshivas if you need to.
So who was the two other people to hold? Jalen McMillan, Ben Sinnott, and who else?
That was it.
Okay, and then all right. So I'm gonna put Parker.
I said McCarthy.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy.
I said Horrendo, McMillan,
okay.
Sinnott. Yeah.
Jalen McMillan, Isaac.
Okay. So with that in mind, have we given this a team grade?
No, we have not.
It's such a strange team from the perspective of where the wealth is at, but it's not a bad team at all. It's just the wealth is in places we don't want it to be, I think, or we just have an excess of. This is like B-.
I think, yeah, I'm there with you. I think this is a decent team. Right moves happen.
Yeah.
Draft capitals. Obviously, you have your 26 first, but you have the 111.
Yeah, draft capital is more like a C+. There's nothing really impactful there.
No, which makes sense there.
All right. Well, let's think through some of the options we have here. I'd like to actually start with a Burrow or Daniels move. Right, I'd like to start there because I think that really could set up the rest of our goals if we're able to move one of these names. So why don't we look at a team that's quarterback needy? For example, that guy is Bo Nix. This is going to be tough.
Well,
all right, this is perfect.
West Coast Adams.
Okay, let's go final boss first real quick just because I'm already here.
Sure.
They have A-Rich Gino. That's about as perfect as it gets. What do you think about a Bucky Terry type of offer?
Yep, I like that. I like Bucky Terry. I like Bucky Jerry.
Is that expecting too much though? What is the range of quarterback? Can we check that real fast? Hold on.
Yeah, on keep trade cut. Joe Burrow, QB4. Let me turn off Superflex.
So Bucky's worth more in a 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
So maybe Terry's too much to ask, but could we ask for Bucky and Sutton? That could be your starting point, and again, see what's possible. I would also do like a Brees or James Cook plus. I'll do like a Brees Judy, personally.
Yeah, how much are we willing to give up for our 202? Because I feel like that might be fair to do, like Bucky and Jerry, Bucky and Terry for Joe in the 202.
Yeah,
potentially.
If I can get something for free, I'd rather keep the 202. But I would agree with you that if you want to add Terry McLaurin and you can add the 202, then I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, that's because you get more depth, which you need just in case if Jalen's situation goes to shit and Rice, doesn't come back until the middle of the season. You get another wide receiver, which is good. And then not only that, you get a running back here with Bucky Irving.
All right, you were gonna say West Coast Adams definitely does need help.
Yeah, he has Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields.
I love these options, but
Well, the first one that came to mind was Saquon, but that
you might have to pay a bunch to get Saquon.
Once again, I was just thinking like the 202 and Joe Burrow. Let's see what Saquon. Let's see what Keith Drake Cuss is about. They said we're overpaying.
Really?
I'm gonna look at.
I find that really hard to believe.
I'm gonna look at the trade calculator for us. This is Dynasty, full PPR, 1 quarterback to running back, 1 receiver. Okay, so they received Joe Burrow, and I received Saquon. Alone. Okay, and if I add the 202, do we have a 202 individual pick?
I don't think so.
Let's just say the 112 then. Is that the one? That's the closest that we can potentially get.
Let's go.
It says
early second.
I win with Saquon.
You can say early second.
Can you say early second?
Yeah, of course it says you win. Both of those trades say you win with Saquon. Because Saquon should be more valuable than those guys in a 1 quarterback league. But keep trade cut doesn't say that.
Yeah, keep
so look,
cut doesn't say that.
If they use keep trade cut, then sure. I mean, I think you're seeing that for some people it might be in range. I think you'd be crazy to trade Saquon for that right now in a 1 quarterback format. Superflex, it would be no brainer, right? But 1 quarterback, I think that would be crazy. But I think
I agree.
You're right. If it's possible, then there's no reason not to take it. How about the guy who has CJ Stroud? There's literally no one. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get the 101. The only other name is the guy who has Caleb Williams. If you could grab an, would you do JT in the 203 or something?
Yeah, I'm not excited about it, but yeah, I'll do it. It's like, all right, let me get a running back here.
All right, if we were to send Jaden Daniels away, I think you could get a lot more. So I think let's go back to these teams. Like, do you think you could send Daniels and the 202 away for Amon-Ra?
See what you're gonna use to keep trade cut. Let's see.
Let's see what they say. Yeah, they say it's possible. I think that's ridiculous, but all right. If that is possible, then that would completely change this team. And you're right, this would push them to sleeper status. They hopefully would use the 111 on a running back. But if Pacheco's there and then you add Amon-Ra, then does that make Amon-Ra someone you can sell for a running back? Does that make McConkey someone you can sell for a running back? I think that really opens up your world a little bit. And I don't want to get rid of Jane Daniels. Let me be very clear. I'd prefer to sell Burrow, but we're seeing you can get maybe a bigger haul if it is Mr. Daniels. I almost feel like it'd have to be like Saquon and DJ Moore for Daniels.
What does Saquon? Let's see what Flock Fantasy says. So just like Jaden Daniels in that 202 for Saquon, it's a fair trade, according to the Flock Fantasy website.
So we add the 202 if we want to grab DJ Moore then. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. It just feels wrong, but I know it's 1 quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I think ideally we would like to move Joe Burrow, keep Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I think both those guys are going to be phenomenal for the future.
Would
but
you do
obviously
Bucky and the 106 for Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, 1 quarter. What's 106 here? Still a good running back.
Yeah, you could net a running back there with who?
Yeah, I'm okay with
Henderson or whoever it is, and then I mean that actually fixes a lot of your issues straight away, right? Because we don't have to worry about Pacheco anymore. We have a running back at the 106. We have Bucky Irving. Then we still have the 111, which we can get a tight end with or another running back. I think that actually fixes a lot of your issues. But in case you can stretch it out, because some people are not Bucky stands, If you're able to add a Jerry there or a Sutton, you know, I think it's worth starting off there. But I don't think it's realistic. All right, I think that's mainly the direction we would go. If you're sticking in pick here, you know, someone mentioned in the chat, but I agree, you're definitely Colson Loveland, Tyler Warren, eligible, you know, spot. But I would also say Judkins. I'd also add, you know, the Igbukas of the world. I think that's kind of the range. And then hopefully we can stay in that range at the 202, but I know quarterbacks aren't going to be very valuable in this league. So Jalen Royals and Matthew Goldens and, you know, true BPA running back is also an option. And then if you are to send away the 111, I really don't think this team should.
I don't think so either.
I think they should stick and pick with the strengths of this class, because you're either going to get a running back who falls or one of these tight ends.
Tight ends, 100%. It's not tight end premium, so
yeah.
And most likely the tight end is going to fall because these running backs are going to be pushed up. And then that's okay because you're probably going to get a first round tight end at the 111.
Yeah. I mean, if you are going to grab like a running back for the 111, like Chuba Hubbard, Ken Walker, you know, like if I will just put that there as an option. You know, that's kind of that range. James Cook as well. Come
on, Jimmy. Was taking them to the Super Bowl and then they stopped.
That play by him was unreal.
He's better than his brother. No, I'm not gonna say that.
He's definitely not. He's never better than prime Dalvin Cook. That boy was diffy.
That boy was diffy. One cut, gone.
He was special. All right, I like this plan. I mean, let's just play out a world where we sell Burrow. All right, let's play out the world where we sell Burrow and we end up with Bucky and Terry, which we talked about. All right, so we have Bucky, we have Terry, which is great because we don't know Rashee Rice what he's going to be yet from the suspension for you this year. But you add Bucky to Pacheco. Hopefully Pacheco keeps his job. Hopefully at the 111 you get a tight end. If you don't get a tight end, you can use 111 on a Judkins and just rock with Jake Ferguson for now or Ben Sinnott. Hope they take the next step. That's a great option. You know, if you're able to sell Jane Daniels for Bucky, the 106 and Judy, I mean, your team looks maybe even better on paper, right? Because you still have Joe Burrow, but you have Bucky Irving. You have the 106, which could be Hampton, Henderson, or Johnson. And then you could still use the 111 on Colson Loveland. So that might be an even better pathway for you. If you can, you know, send the 111 for one of these names, I don't think that's a bad idea either. Getting a Monra would be incredible. I'll also just throw like the 111 for Chuba Hubbard as an option as well.
Yeah.
But I like this team. I like the direction. I wish you had a little more draft capital. Wouldn't be selling your first round pick next year to make a move. But if it breaks down in season, I think you've got enough players that you can sell to really retool. You know, you're not going to be stuck up a creek without a paddle.
I completely agree. But thank you, Kevin. We really appreciate you and your support. As always, you're going to be receiving this playbook within 48 to 72 hours, customized to your team with all information, know the trades that we drew up here for you on the chalkboard. But we appreciate you. You're going to be receiving that in the Flock Fantasy message system.
Yeah. You know,
over there.
It is already 2 p.m. here. I need to prep content. I don't think we can get to this next one, but we'll make it priority for tomorrow.
100%. We appreciate you, lad.
We didn't have time for yours tonight. Let's see. But you will be first on tomorrow's stream.
Chargers fam. Awesome. So you're here with us.
Oh, is
I'm assuming you're lad.
Oh,
if Chargers fam, and that's you, so sorry for making you wait and then cutting you short. We really appreciate you waiting. But you will be priority tomorrow.
Be the
so
very
make sure you
first
turn on the
one.
notifications. Yeah, turn on your notifications for the YouTube channel. You'll also probably get another message on the Flock or email on the Flock Fantasy website as well. Very I really appreciate you, man.
And tomorrow's stream will be dedicated to team reviews. So, like, literally the first thing we do will be reviewing your team. So, definitely join us tomorrow. We should be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we appreciate you, man. Thanks for your understanding as well. I just realized I have to prep videos, and I have not. I have barely any time left in the day.
I'm sitting in a hot box. It's like 105 degrees here in Australia today.
You don't have AC?
This room doesn't have AC. I have a fan.
Oh,
and if I open the door, then Brooks is gonna come in because he's crawling, almost walking. He's screaming. So I'm hot as hell.
Move to Newcastle, they said.
Oh, I'm loving it. 5 minutes away from the beach. See you there.
Anything else around there? It's just the beach.
Beach. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, man. Come through.
Just kidding. All right, we appreciate you guys for being here with us. Do us a massive favor, smash that like button to show some love. If you want your team reviewed, it's very, very simple. You can either become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. That is the best bang for your buck. Or you can get your team reviewed through the Flock Fantasy site, just with an a la carte purchase. But we appreciate you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Nothing but love. Appreciate you. Great stream, and we'll see you then. Love.